is this? Right here. All in all, I think everything in the world seems horrible. But it looks like, I believe, anyway, the fight's going to come back to 142.65 once again. We got the dollar that's up farther than before. Things are still cracking. Things don't really look that good. But we're still like oversold yesterday. Still think if we ended above this red line, there's a higher chance that we'd be getting sold down today. So, I mean, it's already a relatively weak and oversold candle that we're on, kind of similar to this one after this. So, I don't see it in the same thing. How we come down, up, and then we try to push down. We can't do the same thing. So there is a difference here. If we do start up here, it does make it look a little bit better, but in that same respect, I'll see why we can't come up here and still end the week down. Or the possibility, I don't think, is off the table, or even if we fail at 142.65. And as always, I think on the short term, if we can get something to, range between here and then start here, we can still push up. So, it's going to be a lot harder. I still think it's possible. Practice shorters out for the short-term ones. Give me something good to look at. We're not going to be streaming up too much today, so we'll see where we start. We got 11 minutes. My stomach is killing me. And we got to push down USD/OT, which is interesting. Oof. That's not pretty. Definitely tired today. Definitely don't know how long I can stay up or like stay awake. I kind of stayed up late playing this one Yakuza 0 game, which is actually really good. Just I could make some really nice games. Ooh, that's a big hit to PayPal. Relatively compared to everything else. I consider nothing else actually sold down. I mean, it's a huge sell down compared to everything else. Hey, what's up, Dignity? I think it's the first time I've seen you in here. It's good to see you in. It's good to see you again, main source as always, too. That was kind of weird, but both chat shit at like the same exact time. I mean, I think we have we'll see. I mean, like, for me, it's the fight for this range, assuming that we actually end. I don't know where it is. Let me see. Or that we start, right? What is this? Oil? Yeah, sure thing. Just give me a second. Let me do this. What are we looking for? Like above 140.25, I think, and it's Gucci. Otherwise, this thing might just snap down today horribly. Oil. Let's see. I mean, I'm really mixed on oil. I'm like definitely mixed on oil. So like one of my biggest issues on it is it's just doing some weird stuff now. We did start a little high. I don't think this is really like too high. So long story short, just showing my averages. We have our 500 or 200 all over here. We start a little high, we come down to test, and we immediately get wrecked under. And then I'll give like a fundamental perspective that I'm not too happy on, which makes me somewhat kind of concerned with it. So we can see where this line is, right? So obviously this was here before, but we open up here, and then we immediately come down to test, which makes sense, but immediately gets trapped under and then pushed under. So it's trying to fight up right now. I think it'll probably move up with the market. The market can push it up. I'm overly concerned about it, though, just because of recession kind of fears. I think it's pretty easy for them to knock the market down. So there's a lot of inconsistencies and things I didn't like. And whatchamacallit. So like if we just look at some of these, let's just look at some of these places. So the month started a little bit weak. The week started not strong. The month started not strong. The week started not strong. To me, it would make sense for us to come back down to some of these areas to test, but we didn't push up in the best kind of way. We can just see that it looks like anyway that there's a decent amount of weakness in this area. They did a nice job pushing it back in regards to the fib and all that. And obviously this is the OPEC crap where they're talking about, production. For me, I'm not like a huge fan of it. I would have liked to have seen this come down a little bit more. I'm not going to be that stingy on it though. I didn't take and trade on this because I'm not a huge fan of the way it specifically looks and how it started weak. And it's kind of diverging from the market going up and this not going up. So I don't think the market's really out of anything yet, so we'll kind of see. But I guess like on the short term for it, I'm going to be honest, I'm not exactly sure. I'm not a huge fan of what it's done so far. This is like, from a TA perspective, this is the most concerning thing to me. We have these are like two huge averages, and it's very concerning to me that we start above. Even though this is a little high, I don't think it's that bad. But the fact that it comes right under and then finds resistance at this area is definitely concerning to me. The fact that the structure on it isn't the best is also a little bit concerning. There's a decent chance this just gets pushed up with the market today. We can even kind of see here a little bit clearer on the day. No, I guess this makes a little bit sense from the 12-hour perspective why it didn't come back down to the day. Actually, now I kind of see that. Yeah, what's up, Birdspying? I actually kind of see why this didn't come down to the day. This doesn't make me super like this. Like, this isn't like huge difference, but actually I can kind of see why we didn't push down to the day now. I didn't realize the 12-375 here. The 12-hour 375 is right here. I actually didn't realize that. I still think this is a weak point for it if it has to come back down. And I'd still like to see like another 12-hour start above here, though. It might be taken with the market. I'm not a huge fan of just going off of that play. But, okay, so I actually see why this is getting, besides the OPEC and everything. Because I was kind of wondering why it didn't get pushed down to at least just come down and touch support, because this made the most sense to me. So I'd still like to see it get above 92.72, at least on like a 12-hour. But still, 11,300 on the Nasdaq. I think it's possible. Where are we starting? I think for me, I can check the Nasdaq in a second. I think it's pretty far away from averages, so I'll have to check. From an Apple perspective, I just want to see it start above 140.24, and I'd feel pretty decent about it. I think this is the range that we're dealing with from an Apple perspective, between 140.24 and 124.64. So if we start in here, I think like if this will be a lot more bullish than bearish anyway. Like I think if we were to start down here, I think there's a great chance to just drop or to come back up and then immediately just come back down. So I think we can kind of avoid extra bearish pressure as long as we can start over 124. Nasdaq, take a look at 1 second. And you'll see why. Like I'm pretty sure it's away from some averages, but so I think if we can just start here, there's a decent chance. Let's start looking at Nasdaq right here. Well, I'm not a huge fan of it. It might have the 2 hours above it too, but let me just go through this real quick because this is kind of where we left off, right? So we had the 12, the day, the 4. So we got what? Let me move some of this. Where's the 2 hour now? 2 hours right here. Where's the 4? Okay. Let me label some of these to see where they are. And this represents a pretty nice area anyway. This is why I always like these, right? Because we could say this is here. Anyone would have a brain is also just looking at this too, right? Even if you don't have an average, they're looking at this here. So we'll kind of see with that. Let me adjust some of these real quick. Everything's pretty far away. I don't hate where it's fighting for, but I'm not a huge fan. This is just some fib I put on here yesterday just to kind of take a look at all this kind of stuff a little bit better. So let me just see real quick. Do we have anything on the other ones? I don't know if there's anything. So once again, the NASDAQ is just, I mean, it makes sense, right? But it's like, once again, the NASDAQ is just 20 million feet away from all sort of support, or not support, 20 million feet away from all sort of resistance. So I'm a big fan. I think people usually use this. I'm a big fan of like the point one though on a lot of these things, so I'm not too surprised about what it's doing. My biggest issue is, and I guess well, I guess you can't see it. It's whatever. But if you have like a 238, I think is what it is. Is it a 238? I don't remember. But this is a 0.25. I don't use 238, so it might be slightly. Gosh dang it! 1 second. It might be slightly different where it is. I'm definitely looking at the NASDAQ on this exchange. I am definitely not a huge fan of it. Just from a fib perspective, being under right here, even if we start above, like this is the ranges I would be treating this for. So it's definitely a little sketchy. This will be interesting to see what happens with NASDAQ. And then obviously whatever levels up there with huge drop. I mean, it looks pretty reasonable. It's 11.3. Yeah, I see why you're targeting 11.3. 11.3 and 11.231 both look like really decent places. I feel like it's going to have to get pushed up quite a bit. Do we have anything under us? No, and then the 1 hours are up here at almost 11.2, 11.3. Yeah, everything's just so far away, it's crazy. So we can kind of see something from a 5-minute perspective anyway. Did we open? So it looks like we opened on Apple. I think it's pretty hard to say for a decent amount of this stuff what direction we'll take. If anything, NASDAQ might get direction from Apple. Apple isn't really like the best, but it at least started, from a week time frame perspective, it at least started, which isn't like horrible, at least started right here. So I do think it's going to have more bullishness than it does bearishness. Everything looks horrible though, considering what's like from a fundamental perspective. Everything looks horrible. From a TA perspective, this is a really nice entry point to where that if it flips, it's going to, I don't know if it's not sketchy if it flips. I still think we'd be okay here. Somewhat of a smaller position. I don't like most of this stuff. We have a little bit down. Don't forget it's like 24s right there, so we're just hitting the line right now. Or technically we haven't even hit the line yet. Still has another 8 cents to go down. But I still think it's fine to try to push up for a little bit. NASDAQ looks horrible. The ranges are really small compared to before. It's really, I don't know, it's a little tough. Like I feel like a long makes more sense than a short where it is right now, just because it feels like we're at the base and we have some space to move up, right, this range. And that's the only reason I like this. And the NASDAQ looks like it could get pushed up, but it seems like it would only be from something like this, maybe. Everything's really horrible. I'll say that much. Like, have you guys seen these, like, Russia started attacking, like, more Ukrainian targets and all that kind of crap, so I don't really like a lot of anything, to be honest, so but we'll see what happens. I think, like, the easier way to go about this and what I'm looking for is a day that can actually start up here, a day that fails into here. I think it's reasonable for someone to take a long today, just to play for this range. It makes a lot of sense to me. We'd still come to this line and then push back down since we started in this area. But we'll see what happens. It's just not the best compared to like what we get once we enter, if we actually can get back into this area, right? Because I mean, we can even see here, it looks pretty nice. We got technically, let me do this. It looks a little bit better if we do it in this manner. Okay, there we go. So we can just kind of see from here all this, and then we get this started. So if we did start above, even regardless of within here, there's a decent amount of space between like here and here to actually fight for, which is pretty nice. So I'm not exactly sure why I'm going to be like straight up about this perspective. I don't understand why they're selling it down so hard right now. I guess everything's pretty ugly. But I don't understand why they're selling stuff down so hard right now. To me, this isn't a short position. Like, I'll say this, regardless of the direction it takes, this is not a short position. It's not as bad as this, but to me, it's not a short position anyway. It's not as bad as this, but we did still start out, and then we or end out, and this time we started in. So we come back to test this time, which makes sense. So if they do manage to push this back up, a lot of these shorts are going to get wrecked, which is a little bit of a concern. So, like, the places they're short are still all the way up here. Like, this was the only place they're short are going to put, in my opinion. Not like here. I just don't see it right here. Yeah, I mean, everything's pretty bad. We can take like a look. Let me check NASDAQ also real quick. Yeah, this came. Wow, really? Did they really have to do that? Did we just touch this? I guess it was 2 feet away. Man, I mean, I guess that makes sense why we're going to get pushed down a little bit now, but did they really have to buy it up that hard? Did they just bought this the first 5 minutes, or was this before the market started? No, I guess I just didn't even see this. Huh. I mean, I guess maybe because it gets sold out, it looks a little bit sketchier. Still, even from this perspective, like, we hit the line, but we didn't end up here. So, I don't think it's typically horrible. To me, it's like it's just the same kind of oversold conditions. I think it looks much worse if we end the 2 hour, which will be around 10 o'clock. If we end the 2 hour around somewhere like 11.5, or if we can end at 11.65, I think this looks pretty decent to get pushed back down. So we'll see what happens. There's a decent amount of selling coming in on this stuff now. So yeah, VIX is really high, isn't it? Isn't it like 32? Yeah, they're almost 33 right now. Definitely really high. I mean, everything looks really bad. Let me pull up, like, from a fundamental perspective, everything's horrible because the Bank of England mentioned that they're going to keep raising. There's nothing to do. There's literally nothing that can be done, in my opinion, at the end of the day for a lot of these things. But let me bring up this. Anyway, let me bring up this over here. Then we can bring up this. I think we're getting sold down a bit. Wow, that's a big sell down. These people are wild. Okay, hopefully they can push it off. Okay, and then let me go back to this real quick. Let's see. But it's pretty wild. Like, Russia launches large-scale strikes in some 20 Ukrainian cities, and then they literally say, like, they're trying to wipe us off the face of the earth, and then this guy adds, unfortunately, they're dead and wounded. Like, talk about, like, I hate to say this, but I don't hate to say it just because I'm streaming, but it's like, let's say you're with a girl that just doesn't know how to shut her mouth in public, right? And you know the stereotype, I mean, it happens, of girls that essentially, like, or women that essentially, like, get their men into fights. That's what Zelensky feels like right now. Now, I do feel like he's being pushed in this direction also by the United States government quite a bit, or allowed to talk like this, but, like, bro, unfortunately they're dead and wounded. Oh, unfortunately there are. Okay, I misread this. Okay. Usually this dude just keeps snapping back, like the bridge thing where they're like sick burn and all the other stuff. So I thought this guy was saying like, okay. I thought he was saying, unfortunately, antagonizing Russia once again. Like, I swear every time I look at it, the guy's antagonizing Russia. And I'm not saying like they're good guys, but it's like, geez, what's going on here? I feel like something's about to go boom in a couple seconds. Oh, damn. Wait, that come from underneath? Oh, no. That's kind of weird. I don't really know where that came from. Two 2003 operating shock and over rocks capital city from predators. Somehow, I imagine this account that's called Syrian Girl. Somehow I imagine it's not even a female. Alright, let me check the market again. Is it getting shreked? No. I mean, it's getting pushed down. Personally, I think it's oversold where it is right now, but we'll see what kind of happens with it. Oh, whoops, let me do this. We'll see what happens with it in a second. I think this was a great opportunity to just bring it back up here. And then if this got bought up right away, we push down with zero chance of pushing back up. I think this just gives them a higher chance of pushing things back up. Now, if they can keep pushing down, then I think that's great, but they gotta keep pushing this stuff down. I mean, every time frame. It's like, what, 15? So in 6 minutes, we'll see a 15 that's oversold. And I mean, well, I guess technically, respectively, there are still some reasonable things. It's not like that crazy, but 15. Right, I mean, it starts to look a little bit worse and worse, or like a little sketchier bulls in the higher time frames. So, and it just catches me off guard. Why would we start up here? Maybe it doesn't matter. I will give it that like this is like the big short spot, but or like the place that a lot of people would enter, respectively, and Nasdaq is also right, like all the way up here. So like people flipping, I don't necessarily see them doing that, but at the same time, it's like it just seems weird to start here and not start down here. And it's a weird observation to make, but for me, it's let's see what happened in pre-market also as well. Yeah, I mean, it just seems kind of weird. It just seems kind of weird personally with, you know, this, and then it plays in this area quite a bit. Seems kind of weird to respect this line and then start above it. Why not start under it? So, but bound to be wrong here and there a couple times. So we'll see what happens. See how it plays out. I will say this is ugly from a 2-hour perspective. I don't know why they even bought it into here without at least getting something to start up here. But this is going to be really tough, so like a long starts around here when the Nasdaq gets around 11.9. Like the Nasdaq starkly, like I still think this is oversold, but this definitely makes me feel starkly different from Apple. I guess Apple, in the same sense, does have like targets where it needs to get pushed up now because it started in a decent place and got pushed down. This hasn't started like here or like a time frame here, like a decent time frame. And I think we have like a 1 hour. Oh, we do have a 1 hour up there. And I guess maybe this actually might be the best chance it has done. So this switched to 1 hour right under the 2 hour. No, it switched to slightly over. This doesn't mean anything to me, specifically from a bullish perspective, because I don't care about the 1 hour. But it actually did switch over somewhere up here. It's interesting. Still feels oversold. Oh, we'll see. I mean, maybe under 10,905. I still have like copium. I'm gonna be honest. I still have copium. This thing can push up, so we'll see what happens. But I'm still a coper currently. I have no vested interest in anything right now that's going up, so I just don't think we're in this range yet. Or I don't think we're like in this range yet. This is a big range too. I think this is a really big range. Let's see more news real quick. See if anything else is going on. Let's do this actually. I feel like every time I click off of this, price starts moving in some direction. Man, 113.15. Ooh, you know what would be really interesting right now? US dollar, the Japanese yen. This might be one of the worst things for everything also going up. I wonder my thoughts on this. I still think this could easily do the 30 to 50% move. I still think this is easily possible. Like, right, we have 6.5%, 40%, 46%. You know, the entry point was, what, I don't remember, somewhere like down here, 142 or something like that. But I wonder how much was this going to push the dollar up possibly. I wonder, like, if the, because I don't think the, like, if we look at the Canadian dollar, the Japanese yen, it looks pretty good. Excuse me, but it doesn't look but it doesn't look anything like the U.S. dollar, the Japanese yen, and the possible gains that it has. No, these are pretty high up for this, but I wonder if this is going to be seen more as like U.S. dollar weakness as opposed to other things. I'm wondering if the U.S. dollar or the Japanese yen is going to cause like a even harder push up on the dollar. Yeah. I mean, it's all pretty wild. At the end of the day, in my opinion, we need to get sold down. I might be interested in cruise line stocks. If this reaches like $2 or $3 or like 150, I might be interested in Carnival or well, not Royal Caribbean, still so expensive, but Carnival. So, from a fundamental perspective, everything's trash. Yeah, why not, right? I mean, if you're gonna lose money picking stuff, I mean, that's like saying Boeing almost at $40 is what I feel like. Like that's to me, that's like saying Boeing. Where the hell is my thing? For me, that's like saying Boeing at $40 just about. Though we're so far away. We're not under here, nor are we under here, or where we first hit our point here, which is also around where we had a bounce. That's wild. Talk about having enough data to have enough data on Boeing to have a 375 and a 500 over 500 months of data. That's wild. It's always wild. Always surprises me. 139.26. Boeing's up. Let's do this real quick. Kind of check. I feel like there's a lot of cope that for long-term people still. Whoops, I don't care about the stock screener. Apple's plus 3-4%? Huh? I have zero idea what the heat map's doing. Because it looks like it's, okay, now it's actually updated, okay. Nvidia's down 3%, Meta's up 1. I mean, you can see here, right? Apple minus 0.56, Microsoft's down 1.38. Microsoft once again getting hit harder than the rest of the market. Pretty wild. I wonder if there was some weakness. Did they have earnings or something? Gosh, that looks so sketchy. Look at that month. Oh my gosh. Only worse if it came up to 255 instead of 250, and if it was right here. Wow, 214 to 225 both look pretty decent. We'll see what happens though. But man, Microsoft does not look pretty. Wow, does not look pretty at all. So Microsoft's definitely just taking the lead again. I wonder if there's some, like, for my MSP experience, businesses big and small are very important to them. Obviously, bigger ones are important too, but small businesses are important also. Any business that's going to use a domain with several licenses is important, and just the buying of new product. Like, to me, a lot of small businesses going out really affects Microsoft because while I believe they probably make, I know we saw the other day they make like 30 something, it's like 30, 30, 30, right? Between their Azure and their, I think Azure is its own thing, and I think it's Azure and Microsoft 365. I can't remember all the specifics, but it's like 30, 30, 30. But small businesses, I imagine, would be a big hit, not just because of the licenses, but because like every new year they're buying new equipment. You know, I know I want to use Apple, so we'll see how. I'm not too surprised to get hit a little bit harder in some other things. Oh man, that one dude's almost out. I think that one dude got out or got knocked out. That one guy in AMD we were talking about, man, it's so insane that we went from here just the other day on what, Thursday? We went from here, now we're down 17%. That dude's liquidated. Yeah, you remember that one guy that we were looking at on that he bought in. So, like, long story short, the guy bought in. Where's it? Here? He bought in like 2016. Did he get 2016? No, I think he got 2017 somewhere. But he got in somewhere around, I think, here. What, like 11? So yeah, he put $100,000 in here. He wrote it up, and then this year there was supposed to be like some merger. So he bought $400,000 or something on margin or something like that. I don't remember what he did specifically. Long story short, the guy lost everything that he has. I'm almost positive. I'm pretty sure. And Vertigo deletes his stuff, but I'm pretty sure this guy. Let me see. I don't know where he is now. He probably hasn't posted anything, but at Vertigo said I think 58 was his where he gets wiped out. So this guy over the last 6 years, 5 to 6 years, turned 100,000 into 900,000 just to take out $400,000 on margin and then lose everything. And the dude had like a wife and kids too and stuff. I'm like, geez, GG. It's like, nice job, man. So crazy. I'm not surprised we pushed up from here, but it's so crazy to think that we're all the way up here. This is still somewhat surprising. And Apple still looks horrible. Gosh. They're gonna. I say it from the same perspective. I'm still not like a huge fan of like shorting it here. But if someone had to ask me whether they wanted to stay in the actual individual stock or not, I would tell them no. Because like from a longing perspective, like this looks so bad from any longing perspective. But the only decent long perspective here, if someone wants to invest, would be if we start here and then we get a day that starts up here. Unless we can reclaim this, everything's horrible for like longing. Well, that's good. I mean, at this point, I think it's sketched a lot of this stuff. But at this point, it's still fine unless we get something that starts up here. I mean, the areas still seem to be pretty well defined. So I don't like this selling, but kind of is what it is. I don't mind it necessarily on NASDAQ, but I don't know why they pushed it up in pre-market to hit the target. We have time. It's like 8 minutes before the next 2 hours switch over. We've already hit unders twice. We've already hit the .1 twice. We're oversold on the 2 hour, but might not matter. I started playing this Yakuza 0 game the other night. It's actually really good. It's like made by Sega. Like really enjoyed it. Right now, we're just from like a quick Nasdaq perspective. This seems to be like the craziest thing. It's a Yakuza 0. I don't know. It's I don't know if it's on Xbox, to be honest. Let me see.
Before I get into
It's pretty cool though. Let me see.
this video, yes, you should absolutely jump into this series. I picked it up late last year and I am kicking myself for not playing it sooner. The Yakuza series is a daunting stack of games to get into. There's fucking 7 of them, and an average playthrough of one game will take about 30 hours at the least. But with that said, they're a blast and totally worth it. And your best entry points right now are Yakuza 0 or Yakuza Kiwami. I'll be comparing both of them, and yeah, you can read the video's title.
But they have
Still
like,
on the fence. Here's a quick
let me
rundown of the
see.
games. At their core, they're beat 'em ups, but Yakuza takes a quantity over quality approach for its combat.
Like they have a lot of small games and like other Sega games into it. Like they have like a karaoke thing you can do it in and stuff. And it's because it's like classic, I guess, Sega stuff. And they have old Sega games too. So there's like a so there's like a karaoke thing. And then there's like, so they also have a classic arcade games in it, I think. Let me see.
Long ago, while Cruise RNG dependent and so obnoxiously slow.
Oh, apparently they have this also.
To it, Master King is at 30 too much, so money was no longer a worry. But even if I needed money, it's just entering a menu. But why would I play other poker games? Actually, my favorite to least favorite gambling games are in the order I mentioned them.
You see what I'm saying? Like, they have so many, and then they have all these like arcade games.
Controller, just so I didn't suffer carpal tunnel playing it. But the game is solid. It's a side-scroller shoot 'em up where you just fly around ganking people into the boss show.
And they have darts.
Control involved, and it's more about putting it in the right spot and hoping you get what you want. Also, playing darts drunk is vomit-inducing. I'm putting 13 and 12 together because they are so close to me.
And they got pool.
Super annoying when you're trying to tease a shot. Finally, we are at the top 10 and we're starting at right?
Shogi.
And the other opponents.
I think Mahjong. So they have like, I haven't even gotten really into this stuff.
But get some money. Have a good day.
But it's like there's just a lot to do in the game itself, which is pretty wild. Man, why'd they sell down that quickly? Oh. We'll see what happens. I don't know why they sold it down that quickly right there. Ooh, there's actually stuff down here. It's not a lot though. 15 and a 5. Do we have anything else? Let me see. And 5. Kind of want to get rid of this, but we'll hide it for now. Dame, banana. I mean, it seems pretty cool. It's they have a lot of side missions and side quests and all that. And whatchamacallit, here 1 second. Where's your next 15? When's your next 15? 3 minutes. I actually might be able to get a little bit of up if we can actually start above on the 15 anyway. Or might be some clear divide up. Oh, right. Is it still up? Oh, whoops, my bad. I need to create a keybind to be honest for it. That's what I should do. So I don't have to hit the button every time. My bad. But we gotta, let me do this. Fib. So we gotta slow down pretty quick. And then we start the 5 around here. So it looks like we're just in between the 5 and the 15 right now. And there's not literally nothing else around here. So, I mean, this is at what? 774. I don't know if I can get it back. I don't know if I have the stamina. Oh, there we go. That's pretty easy. So this would be pretty interesting. This seems like something somewhat actionable. That was kind of weird to see it get a bigger sold down right there. We got, what, a minute and 10 seconds? Well, at least people tell me to move the window instead of telling me it's up or something. Wait, is it still up? Let me see. Okay, no, it's not. Whew. Bitcoin's still holding on to, which is pretty interesting. I mean, it's not doing anything really, but I don't know if holding on for the sake of holding on matters. I guess I'll put that out there. Looks like the Nasdaq, I guess, is the only one really getting hit. I know Boeing was up like 3-4% earlier. I mean, obviously Apple's down too, and I guess Microsoft's down, but okay. Oh, I forgot this doesn't switch over until 10:01, so it's still technically like 50 seconds, whatever. So weird stuff. Excuse me. Yeah, 3% on the Boeing right there. Man, that thing's stuck in my head now. They're really, compared to everything else, it's really getting, I guess this actually almost seems like the standard in a sense. I feel like we'll see what happens. I don't know if this matters. I mean, this is essentially what we're looking at right now, right? This here with this to there. This here. So this is like constantly moving down. It's okay. Other people used to mess with me for it, or tell me it was up when it wasn't and stuff like that. It was just jokes though, so it's kind of like is what it is. I can't get my other monitor to work. It probably is my DisplayPort cable at this point. It is my DisplayPort cable. I'm almost positive it's my DisplayPort cable. Because now that I think about it, I swear I try to just look at stuff on my small monitor as opposed to the TV, and I wasn't able to. So it has to be the DisplayPort cable. Well, I guess it could be the graphics card, but it makes no sense. Whatever, probably is the cable. Let's put this down. We got 2-1. Very ugly, I would say. It's not horrible, but it's really not good at all. 10-9, what is that? 10-9-4-4. I mean, the biggest ranges we've already seen is like right here, right? So we got the 2 hour there, and just in general, we have this. Some concerns is we started under, so if we can hold here for the next 5 or 4 minutes, sure, and then we got to start up here to actually enter this range. Whoops. Gosh dang it. Whatever. My posture's bad. I'm not sitting up, so I'll just put another line here. This looks definitely sketchy. And it already got bought up. So like the first thing I think that's something like this is okay, 15-minute time frame perspective, we're oversold, so we come back up. But it's already come close enough, even if it didn't touch it, to say that this is already reasonably bad. And that the only other time frame, the 5-minute, we started under. So I see no reason on the short term to buy this whatsoever at all. The only nice thing about this is that it's not under on this level right here at 10,944. Literally, besides that, I don't see a single thing that's good about where it is right now. Alright. Oh man, it's crazy. I'm so tired. I shouldn't have stayed up so late. I stayed up till like 2:30 playing the game. It's fun because like you're not even playing the game sometimes. You're just like, there's so many side missions and quests, and you're just like chilling. I was playing some old arcade game. I don't even know what it was. They have a claw game. They have a claw game in here. Like they actually have a freaking claw game in here. Like they have like everything is wild. I don't get it. I mean, I guess it's like Sega game, but still. Yeah, still fighting. They don't need to push it down. They need to like. They don't need a new low. They need it to end under here. Like context. I don't understand why they. I mean, this doesn't look too much more amazing, but my issue with this is like, hey man, we don't need a new low. We need to end right under here. So everything still lines up though. Or nothing's really changed. Man, it's not exactly strong. Let's see what happens with it. We got the push up from here, so it's not too surprising. But I don't know if it's actually gonna hold from here. Just on the 5 because it started weak. And we have what, another 10 minutes? Just about. I need to get some water in a second. We still have another 10 minutes. I don't think it's like I get why it's pushing. They pushed low and someone wanted to buy it, so then sure, people are getting out of their shorts. But we started under again. So we're still like, this is still the range currently. And we started in a place that's weak, so we're not technically, in my opinion, in the range. We can skip it by starting at 15 here, but we still have 66% or 10 minutes of it left. So it seems kind of premature to buy this up. Now we've hit this target. Higher high than here, lower than here, so it's not really too much better. They need to just get a 5-minute to start in here. Just go 1 5-minute, 2 5-minute, and then this is your 15 also as well. I believe that's what they need to do, so that would be the most proper way to push up. So we'll see what happens with it then. That would be the most proper way. And then like to properly regain this range. Because otherwise, right, like if it's not stuck in it, if it's not cemented in any of these areas, this is This looks like a pretty big point of contention. Just looking at, let me just do horizontal line. Like right there looks pretty. It's a pretty big point of contention. I feel like to just try to like it just did just push up into here without actually starting anywhere. Like, I just don't see how that's decent. So I see they're fighting on Apple in the background. Oops. There we go. I see they're fighting Apple in the background. Oh wait, what time is it? 10:08. Okay, I need to make a phone call in like 20 minutes. I need to set an alarm too. Let's see what they do. Maybe they won't do something so preemptive this time. I mean, Apple at 139.10 makes me feel like they want it. I mean, like literally nothing matters at this point because they great. Like this range is pretty insignificant where it is. So, like there's further range down, and then there's these small things up here. So, but like this range itself is fairly small, so it's not like it really means much where it currently is. Uh, 10:15 a.m. Okay. Boy. I never understand why people buy stuff up so quickly. Like, I don't get what the point of this was. I really don't. That's whatever. We'll see what happens. Just like it seems like, I mean, it's all short-term stuff, and the ranges aren't huge, but a lot of it does feel like overbuying, overselling, overbuying, overselling. Even if it's not a huge amount, enough to like warrant these whatchamacallits, these movements, small movements a bit, which are like so small. What is this, 3, 4? I guess this is actually not too small, but it's the totality thinks it's not that big. But like, Jesus, just let it end right here. It's already not going to be able to finish in time. We have another 5 minutes, so it's already going to be impossible to have our 1, 2. I mean, it could still push through all this stuff. It feels unlikely though. But everything seems a lot worse, and well, not a lot worse, but everything seems worse and it's better right now. So. Alright, now we're in this range, so more so than before. Though we have to come back to 10.944. Yeah. Okay, got the buy up first, that's nice. Where's the 15? We have to adjust this. Nope. And then we'll have our 15 soon. That matter from here we should be able to push down. We'll see though. Getting bored though. My biggest like annoyance with all this, I feel like it'll be pretty obvious to see. It might not even do it. I'm gonna be honest. Like the fight for 142.65 was under the assumption that it didn't get pushed down in the morning, so it's not even like that close to 142.65. I just made that initially before the market opened, assuming that one we'd start above, and we probably wouldn't get sold down so much. I still think it has a decent chance of trying to do it though, but I'm also just too lazy to change the stream title. That's like the main part about it. So, So like I'd probably just ignore it. There's no need for it. I'm just too lazy to change the stream title. Like that's under the assumption of this. I mean, I don't like the overselling, and I definitely think that to me, like Apple anyway, is oversold from where it is. So I'm just not like a huge fan about it. From a day time frame perspective, we start up here. We have no rejection here. But 142 only comes into play really, and we have the 30s here, but it only comes into play if we enter back into this range. So it could just get dragged down to the depths of hell. It's possible. It doesn't. A lot of these time frames, just in my opinion, it's just really oversold. So it has that potential of coming back up. But anyone that entered here, I don't think is really worried because it's such a decent place. Like if it does come back up here, we should move back up to 142, just based off where it started. And that, in my opinion, we're just kind of oversold. So if we do push up, it's going to be a pretty aggressive push up, which I think is kind of an issue. So, but I don't think we're currently, like, I wouldn't think of it now as like it's something that we're going to hit. So, because we're still, like, we're not locked. My issue is we're not locked into this bottom range. So we're pushing into it. We're not really like locked into it. It's always my big issue. So it's like I'm not gonna say this is the same exact thing because this is the 4 hours, the 4 hour whatever. I just don't like when it pushes so far down. Like just start something here. Like start the week here, because right now the week's in a position of somewhat relative strength to push up if it ever does come back there. Same thing for the day, in my opinion. And it's just dependent on those lower time frames. And for it to like really push down, like nice to push down, doesn't mean it has to, because everything's horrible going on in the world right now, the dollar. But I'd like to see it switch over from here and then just push down, similar to I think what we even had. Like if it's gonna push down, I mean it's hard to see because it's smaller time frames, but it's similar to what we kind of had here, where it's just stay there and then just stay there and then switch over, fall down. Stay there, switch over and then push down. I don't like things that just poop off a cliff. So, this is my 2 cents. I mean, we haven't had a new 1 hour yet. We go for another 15 minutes, so there's no reason for this to necessarily try to come back up from a 15-minute perspective. From the 30, sure, but I mean, we can even see that we have like this here that's going to be something that's to contend with. But you see how like we switch over on these other time frames and say, okay, then we want to get bought back up. So it's just one of those things I'm not like a huge fan of. I like a clean break, like in the sense of this is ugly as hell, but in the sense of like this is really nice, or like this is really nice. It's pretty, to me, it's not that ambiguous or whatever. I don't know why that's so weird. Ambiguity. I don't know why ambiguous sounds like a weird word to say. But I like stuff like this where it just starts where it's like, okay, boom. It just looks bad on the higher time frame. Like we look at it on the day. It's just like sketch. And like same thing here. Here on the 2 hour, but do we ever 216 or do we end the 5 minute? Great. So now we have a 15 that's not ended under. So to me, this looks like another chance to just try to push back up. We'll see what happens, but I think NASDAQ can push back up to 10,970. It's only 18 points from here, so I don't think it's that huge. But I definitely think it can try and push back up. The main reason just being we didn't get a 15 that ends under. I don't like the 30 was a while ago, so obviously we're not going to see a 30 that starts under somewhere where there's no 30. So, and then we'll see what it does in the smaller time frames, because if we look at this, we have under. So everything started under on the 5 minute. So it is a little bit wedged. I guess it's still about the same, but this could open it up where we get a 5 start, and then we can push up. I mean, technically it's going to have to, we'll see. It would look a lot better to start here, hit here, and then like push up here. Because this would give us our 5, 5, 15, right? Because we want to see a 15 on the 15 minute. So, you know, and don't really want to see the target getting hit. Oh, I guess technically no, it is smaller. Okay, so I'm not great. Whoops. Oh my gosh. I'm trying. I hit a button to delete, and I don't want to delete it, and it gets deleted, and it's always like super saddening. There we go. Let's do this. I might play some of that Yakuza game later. This is like what's going on right now. I think is pretty interesting. So, like, there's a decent amount of price action. They could just have this stuff go down if they just do this correctly. Like, if we got bought up, well, actually, to be honest, what they needed to do is have Apple start under 124.60. I'm not 124. 140.26. And then from there, they needed it to push up to 142.65. That's what they needed, and then it could have come all the way up to at least like 144 and still gotten wrecked down. And that would have been the easiest way to try to get the most gains from a short position. So now they have to fight their way down. So anything can happen, but the bullishness is on the short term. They technically haven't hit the target yet, so. And they just needed to end above here. So we got what? 1 minute 40 seconds? And Apple's also oversold, so which doesn't help anything. Boy. We'll see where the 5 minute ends. Besides that, it's not really too important. Yakuza claw machine. What? Gosh, these Japanese games are just. Oh my gosh. That is insane. Check this out real quick. We'll see where the 5 minute ends. Look at this. Oh my gosh. They're beating this claw machine, but look at the bag they have. Oh my gosh. They're cleaning it out. You know what this is? I wouldn't be surprised if they actually have one of these. Look at this guy's face. Look at the guy's face. I wonder if this is real or not. I feel like it is looking at their face, but I don't know. You never know if anything's real nowadays. Maybe it's not. I mean, she's winning it. How do people beat it like this? Look at that. They literally that's over like $100 worth of toys. There has to be at least 40 in there. And these things have to be at least retail value, $5-10, even though they might not be that much for resale. What the heck? That's actually insane. Oh, we didn't start above. They're just pushing it. It's a little bit sketchy to me, to be honest. Oh, can't deny the uptrend though. But we'll see. Hopefully we can get a 15. I'd be quite a bit concerned. So without this getting pushed up too much, I think that would be really the goal here. Knowing idiots, they might try to like buy it up to here and then have it switch over and then have it come down and then it'll end up starting under again and pushing down farther. They don't need to push especially since, like, I don't know if it'll matter, but I don't know, I keep saying the same word. Um, but I think this can be fine if we can start the 15 above here. So I guess technically we don't need to start the 15 above. The 15 needs to start where? What are we looking at? What's this? 8-6? What is this even? My math is horrible today. 86. That's what, 3-2? 3-3? 3-3? Yes, a 3-3. So we're looking at what? 109, 6-7-1. Yeah, what's up, Major? So we only need this to start 6-7-1. Wow, it comes down pretty aggressively. So right about here is where we're going to have it. So this isn't too bad, even with this up here. Hopefully they're not dumb and buy it all the way up. I really like that song. Dumb it, dumb it. I played it a couple times in the game. I kind of want to listen to it, but it is what it is. What they can do. We've got another. It's nice not caring about anything in between the time frames, but I keep forgetting what it is. What is it? 6-1-6-1-6-1? Yeah, I keep reading 6-1-6-1-6-1. So we have what, 2 minutes? Though I will say, from one perspective, it is a little bit sketchier. We'll see, because one of the biggest issues that Bears kind of have is that they pushed it down so far. One relatively nice thing here, though, is that we'll only have a fairly small range of buying here. This is really the biggest issue, this huge wick to this, but like to this not pushing through. Okay, I gotta make a phone call in a second. 1 second. Took my car into the shop. Need to call them about something I need them to do while it's in there. Okay, 1 second. I'll be here. I just need to take a phone call for a couple minutes. I gotta go back in 10 minutes. So this will actually be pretty interesting. So like, this is under the assumption, this is under the assumption that we start under here. I doubt it will do this, but it would be super interesting to see if we actually started back up above. It's only got, what, 3.5 minutes? So that would be pretty wild. Oh, did we get our new thing on the NASDAQ also, though? No, looks like we start under again. Oh, it's our 15, right? I'm thinking of the 5 minute. Our 15 is 16:31, 46, 1, 16. Okay. I literally left and came back and forgot already. Man, for like weak starting candles, they're definitely. I mean, I get the uptrend. Like I get the uptrend, but fairly weak starting candles. But this is like what the other thing that they have to go for, right? Because now the worst thing I think at this point, we'll see what happens. This will be really interesting. I do think there's like what what they need to do now is hold us up here. Because what this introduces is that so we'll have the next 1 hour 30 blah 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 under us, or like 30 and all that 1 hour and below starting. I do think it's important that we actually maintain up here instead of starting in this range. What's what? What's what? That's being oversold. That's what that is, and not being able to hold it down. But it also could be seen as copium. So I think they need to hold it up here. I think this can also be pretty bad depending what happens. So we'll see on the Nasdaq also what that looks like again, because I don't remember on the short term. Because I keep switching back between them. Because like for me, in a sense, I think it's pretty overbought in the short term. I think it's like quite a bit overbought. Quite a bit overbought. And then it's like, to me, this becomes the issue. Is we're oversold on the day, and in my opinion, on the week. We should have just pushed up straight to go hit 142.65 or fight here, and then push down later in the week. That would have made more sense, or maybe an extension out that falls back down. But now the kind of issue becomes, if we start a 1 hour here, well, one thing becomes is this is fairly oversold. We'll see where this ends. But my issue with Apple is if we do start under, we're not in this range, so they just have a lot of buying to not even keep us in a range for the next 1 hour. And so it's definitely possible it could push up. It could continue, but it's going to look really, in my opinion, it just looks really weak. This is one of the worst things, in my opinion, to see. Like, if it's going to push up, it needs to stay up here. And we have, 6 minutes left? So we'll see where we end. Or 6 seconds, whatever. Yeah, so I'm not a huge fan of this for the bulls. I think this might just ruin most of the buying that just happened. There's one hell of an uptrend behind it, but it's just really sketchy. It's not a play, to me, it's not a long whatsoever at all. Yeah. I mean, the timing, I don't know if it was necessarily too fast. I don't know if it's over yet, but it's just a little bit of weakness. So the only thing I like possibly is if the Nasdaq ends somewhere around here on the relative 15. The big issue I have with it is that we've already shot all the way so far up. So, but the best thing the Nasdaq could do is just sit around here and switch over right around this area. Like, this is gonna look a little ugly. It's not horrible, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. These idiots oversold it so much, and it's a real fight here. Like, it's so oversold, which is the issue on not a short time frame. But on the short time frames, it's just not helping the case whatsoever at all. And I guess like a 1 hour is not a short, but compared to like a day or a week, it's not that it's not that long. So it's just, I don't know. It's a real fight. I don't know if half the people know what they're doing on either, that are playing either side, or maybe it's just purely. No, it can't be. It has to be what I just said, because that was such a big pump up. There's no way people didn't get wrecked out, but they're just not hitting the targets they need to hit, in my opinion. So, anything could go anyway, I don't know, but in my opinion, the obvious targets, and when I say obvious, I mean this stuff's pretty obvious. I mean, this line's been here for months, but DPLS, what's that? Oh, so he's not in it. I don't know if it's good or bad. You mean he got in Friday? Or you mean he got out Friday? Oh, with penny stock. Okay. Oh, true. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying now. I don't feel like we've ever looked at that one. DPLS. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. Look at these geniuses. Boy. Well, we'll see where this takes it. I mean, there's another, whole 57 minutes before the next 2 hour? And on the 1 hour, this isn't oversold anymore. It has a little bit of an uptrend before it. Maybe I haven't even really paid attention. Yeah, so it has like a little bit of an uptrend on like the short time frames. But this is like not oversold on the 1 hour anymore, which is kind of an issue for Apple. So to see like a 2 hour, I mean, it's the same thing. If it sits around here, depending on what it does, and it ends a 2 hour around here, it's going to have more pressure down. A day starting under here easily could push us under, like heavily. I mean, anything can push it back down, but I mean, like something that actually takes off and not something that, comes right back because it's oversold in such a short time frame and nothing else. Dark Pulse, DPLS, Dark Pulse Inc. Oh, wow. I don't know what this means. 18,000 volume. Oh, I'm not going to do my math correctly. Why don't I just do this like a normal person, pull a calculator out? What am I doing? What is it, 18? Oh, where did I get 18 from? 17.3 million times, what is this? Oh, so 346, like $350,000 of this has been traded today. It's probably way less since it's been getting just straight sold, but. Ooh, at least this looked ugly on Friday, August 26th. That's nice. That's unfortunate. Ooh. Oh, yeah, okay. Wait, what? This is August 20th, the week of what? So it came right back up? No. Huh? So Friday, August 26th is the high point. This is the week of Friday, August 26th. Oh, I see. Okay. I see now. I see. And this is what? It's not that important. I was just interested. I was like, wait a second. Yeah, okay. So we start the new week here, and then boom, bounce, and then we start right under again. Okay. Okay, I see. I was like, what's going on? Wow, this thing had quite the ride up. Jesus. What is that? That's 5/10,000ths, right? It's pretty wild. Oh yeah. Also a PSA. This is what we'll see what happens, but this is what people deserve for like. Why is this not starting above, getting pushed to here, ending here? Has to come back down to test. At least this has to come back down to test or at the same spot. Or my bad right there. Friggin' Mongos. Yeah, this thing's pretty nice for what it is. That's unfortunate. This isn't horrible, but this is definitely unfortunate. I don't know what the goal with penny stocks is, to be honest. Not sure if it's like a day trade thing or not day trade, but like a momentum trade kind of thing, or like a long term. Because this has some okay places, but I feel like for a penny stock, oh, well, that's pretty high up even to here. Okay. Not everything looked like this. Like this, what was this actually? No, it's not that bad. Maybe it's like a 17. Okay. Obviously, this is really wild for what it is. This is pretty nice. This is ugly. This is pretty nice. That was interesting to kind of take a look at. Momentum scalp. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, you might get in now? True. I don't know. We'll see. I didn't pay attention to see if it moved with the market. I saw August. Shit. Was August 26th a sell down? Yeah, right. It was what, August 16th, 17th, August 26th, September 13th. There's a September 21st FOMC. Oh my gosh. My ears. I didn't even know I had an alert on silver. What the heck? What the heck? Wait, Spire? Oh no, where's my silver one that just went off? Dude, what is going on? What is going on? October 10th, that's today. I don't get it. I see silver is getting shreked right now. Or they're really fighting. Do you see this volatility? Maybe that this is crazy. Maybe I'm crazy right now. Do you see this volatility? I mean, this is like fighting. This is like, whoa. I mean, just the numbers moving right now. Holy crap. I don't know if I've ever seen something like this before. Or for a long time anyway. I will say, like, the market, like, it did the 1 hour anyway, ended in, like, one of the worst places possible. I don't know if it's this bad to warrant something like this, though. It's just like silver. What's the dollar at? It's 13. Maybe maybe silver. I don't look at silver a whole bunch. So maybe this is normal for it. It just feels like it was moving pretty quick for a second there. Yeah, even now it doesn't seem to be moving as quick. Like the other time, like it seemed like it was just moving. Maybe it's always done this, I don't know. It wasn't like huge amounts, it just seemed to be moving a lot. I don't know. Interesting. Maybe it's normal for it. It kind of looks like it's a little bit normal. I just never looked at silver, I guess. Huh. Just seem to be moving quick. Anyway, I haven't checked silver in forever. What the hell's even going on with this thing? Oh, that's not a pretty place to start the week anyway. Jeez, it's really not a pretty wick up and starting right under the 200. Well, that explains the start anyway. Ew, right under the week right there. Jeez. Oh man, this could be really bad for silver. Like the biggest issue with this right here is you got conflicting things. So you have the week time frame right here, the 200, which is always really powerful. We got wrecked from the 5 a while ago. Yeah, back in May. But this is really bad because if this keeps the pressure on it, this won't be, even this getting pushed down, isn't going to be considered oversold here. Could easily see something. What are all of these things? It's so obnoxious. There we go. Okay, that's what the issue is. So this is supposed to be here. Anyway, right now this is our range. I don't know what's down farther, so I can't see. But this won't be oversold. Even after this, all this dropping won't be oversold if we can get something to end here and start under. What's the 12.4? Wow. I'll just do this 'cause I'm lazy. The F4, no one really cares though. Yeah, and the 4 is another reason for it to get bought up and caught right here. That's unfortunate. That's definitely unfortunate for this. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. We'll see what happens, but if this can break under that day and start under, I mean, it's got a decent amount more down, maybe all the way back to 18.2 for silver. It's pretty ugly. Right now it's still though appears it's within this range. Can I do this? Is like an easier way to do it? I feel like this might be an easier way to do it. Just more aids to look at. This might be a little bit better. Style. Where's my text? No. There we go. That makes it a lot better for me. Okay, I like these colors a lot more. Okay, I think I can mess with this. And we'll just lift this up, this down a little bit. Okay. Alright, I like this a lot more. This doesn't mess with my eyes nearly as much. The background is always really annoying for me. Alright, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's gotta fall down here, but it's really unfortunate. I didn't expect that was gonna happen. I mean, if well, not like, I mean, when it starts under, like, not surprised, but I really thought I had a decent chance of at least starting here. Precious metals are worthless still anyway in my eyes, so I don't understand why Peter Schiff, right? People like Peter Schiff, I mean, he has so much gold, that's actually why. I just don't understand gold bugs and silver bugs. Like, when you have a lot of structural instability, you'd want cash because that's what people are used to trading, right? That's what people are used to accepting, so they're going to still accept that. And then you also need weapons and ammo and, whatchamacallit, and like actual resources. No one gives a crap about your gold. Like, no one's going to take gold. Like, people will take gold, but they're going to take, like, my thing is if you have like a bunch of gold, it's like, oh, you want to buy anything, we're going to have a premium. We're going to have, let's say you want something of mine and you have gold. Let's say some things have gone to crap. Well, how do I know your gold's real? How do I know? I'm going to have someone that can look at it and tell me it's real. And, you know what I mean? You got to do all these stupid processes that just, in my opinion, completely devalues a lot of what's going on at that point. What's going on too here? I forgot. We haven't looked at this in a while. Man. you don't have to. Bitcoin's worthless anyway, right? I think to me, I think in the same aspects, yeah. I think for different reasons, but the same kind of stuff brings it about, is what I would say. Um, 'Cause like I think people would be more willing to take gold than Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin's like so much worse than gold. Even though the transactions are a little bit better, people also have to mine for that stuff. So if things really go to crap and resources become important, I don't know how much mining countries would even let their own people do, unless they're like in certain places I could see it, because it's just a lot cheaper. You're near like a hydro dam or whatever, but water's running up places, electricity's getting more expensive. I mean, I guess the biggest thing about mining in certain places is electricity is like what nearly hard or possible to like transport long distances or like incredibly far distances or whatchamacallit, or to store for an incredibly long time, right? Because you need a crazy battery, and batteries last so long, and all the other kind of stuff. Um, I don't know, like, because when I think about like what are people used to accepting, I don't know if a lot of people are used to accepting Bitcoin, but I think Bitcoin's just as worthless as gold. So it's just something to trade to make money on, or it's something that like everything's so separated from what it used to be, and it's like so much more paper than any of this stuff ever used to be. If someone wants physical gold, sure. And like the idea of like a small percent of the portfolio, like sure. But I just think things are so bad where it doesn't matter. Like, I don't know, but maybe that's just doomsday. But society's so messed up culturally and economically. All societies, where it just seems pretty tough. Oh yeah, also I think they have a pretty decent chance of pushing this back up on the Nasdaq right now. So they oversold it pretty hard. It got bought horribly, but I mean this looks pretty nice from where it is. Unless we have a 5 minute start under here, I think we're still messing with this area right here. This will be interesting to see. But this was just ugly, like push up, starts under, push up, starts under, push up, like starts way too high up. Maybe if this started here, but it's kind of hard to say. Because I feel like at the same time, Apple would have needed to whatchamacallit. Oh, we might get the 5 minute in like 26 seconds too, so this will be pretty interesting to see whether we start above or under. Um, what do we get? Just a lot of bad buying here. I don't really get the point. Maybe if this was here, I don't know, but then Apple would have been under. Maybe that would have pulled this stuff down also as well. Looks like we should see the switch in a second. I don't know if we'll get it. I can't see where the frickin' line is or anything. It's not the strongest of areas, but I don't think there's a lot of weakness for it. We might see this get pushed down and then be oversold and get popped back up in another five if it doesn't just push up from here. So far it's been pretty transparent. I feel like more or less in the direction that it's kind of starting. Move this over. This is my biggest issue with these. Take up too much space. Yeah. I'll catch you later. Take care. Don't injure yourself bike riding or something. Okay, what's going on? Is this thing still? Okay, what else is going on? I might just lay down. I mean, I'll watch this stuff so, but I might just lay down at the same time. I mean, I'm practically laying in my chair right now. So nothing really changes. Poor Tilray. Pumped and jumped dump like a cheap whore. Actually, I think I need to make rice or something. I might put rice in the pot. Not too much to do with anything over there. Gosh, that looks so ugly. Like, actually. If they want, they can really fight for it. Nothing's changed with the. To expect any sort of reversal, still need something to start up here. We have what, 20, 36 minutes before the 2 hour? So if there's some sort of small uptrend, there could be a reason to try to push it up there to have the 2 hour start above. And that could push it up. Otherwise, it's at that point, the 1 hour possibly, it's not going to look as strong as any of the other ones. It's like a straight reversal. And at that point, it's like another 2 hours. The 2 hours, which could bring in even more selling. Yikes. There's a lot to fight for, though, considering the week started up here. I still think it means something. I mean, it has to have meant something that the week started up here. Otherwise, I don't think we'd be up here anymore. I think we already broke 137. Oh, excuse me. Man, that looks ugly. Actually hideous. Where is this? Jesus Christ. Yeah. Oh. When we get in our 5-minute 18, it's a little over. I don't know how to comprehend this on the short term because everything above it's horrible and it got overbought and reasonably sold. From a 5-minute, it's oversold, but on the switch over, we can come back up, but it doesn't change the fact that this is what we're dealing with right now. And it doesn't change the fact to regain this range, it should need to start back up here. Looks like it'd be a decent start to a turnaround. Zero reason to buy it. Like, there's zero reason. I mean, it gives a reason to buy and possibly a 5-minute switch up here. It's actually really nice. Like, range. Right here to here. But, gotta get into the range first. A lot of work people have to constantly do. Reef short, please? What's reef? That's something. I've never heard of it. Are you talking about Reef the Tether? Never heard of it. thing is like all over the place. I can kind of get why this probably shot up so much, but I don't necessarily think this was even like a good buy. It just looked really ugly. This thing looked like it was going to go down. People probably got wrecked out of shorts here. What the hell? So at least there's some consistency here, and here, a little bit. And then once again, it just gets popped back up. Oh, okay. That adds some context. Okay, well this is actually pretty nice for what it's worth. I don't think we see anything day, right? No day 12 here. I mean, if you're talking about Reef USDT, I'm not. I mean, that's one hell of a wick up. It's like what, 6% up? Whoops, talking about from current price. What? It's not 6% up? Oh, 5.5. That would be like 5 at most. So it's probably like 4 change. Okay, so it's at 5.58. I actually kind of like this. So this is like so far the thing that I'm kind of concerned about with this is so there's like a couple things. I guess like Bitcoin's the first one. I think anything is like an easy short. You don't have to work again if Bitcoin gets under 18K. That's like a big level right there. If it starts the week under 18K, more specifically. But whatchamacallit, this is a little bit concerning, but ignoring this one wick, this is all actually like really nice stuff. I don't know if there's anything on a different time frame, but this is all really nice stuff. Like specifically everything right here. Where's the 4 again on this? Yes, this is some ugly ass stuff on the 4 though. So it's nice in the 2. That probably explains why it didn't move too much. 2, 4, really nice in that 2. Okay, so trying to break out, break back. Okay. But we never see it really come under the 2. So there's not a huge reason. Seems like for a lot of this stuff to have gone down, but up. Okay, let me just do this. Like, there's some places, I'm not a huge fan of some of this stuff, but I mean, it can go whatever direction. I just look at a couple different things, so we'll do this. Let's just treat it like this in a second. Like, I treat everything as a range, it's usually a little bit easier. Go 1, 2. Actually, do I still have these? Okay, I'm too lazy to type. Let's just do this. Alright, so we got our 4s here, we got our 2s where on the same thing. So like, the first thing I kind of noticed, like, we'll see what else there is. It seems like to be one of the larger ranges that can actually be played in. From a market perspective, a lot of this stuff looks ugly, and I think that's probably almost exactly what's actually pulling this down. Yeah, I mean, this looked pretty decent. Market opens, it pushes it down. So a lot of this stuff's just going with the market right now. But from its own TA perspective, because like most crypto is going to just be traded with the market. It's kind of like whatever. Like, right, like most things don't need to be looked at while the market's open. The market can just be looked at based on the market direction. In a bear bull market, it just drags it. What's this? 2 hour 500. I almost don't care what the other averages are. Yeah, so there's even more down here also as well. So I don't really hate this. Like outside of the market, like, it doesn't really like when the market's open, it's kind of like whatever. But outside the market, it doesn't look horrible to me. If the market gets legs, I think this thing will be fine. One of my biggest issues is that, I mean, we have a 4 hour here, so if we could see a 4 hour end under 5476, this does look pretty safe to then come down probably like to the twos. But there's a lot of support under it. So kind of to see how that plays out. Otherwise, like, I don't know. It's like one of those things. The market's open. I don't know. Like, the market's open, the market looks sketchy. Like, from that perspective, there's almost no reason to almost even look at it. And we got our first, like, sketchiness, like, where the market's, at least from here, we can see the market's not super oversold. I don't know. I don't know. It's almost going to do too much brain power. It's one of those, like, in-between things. I mean, as long as the market looks bad, I think it's fine. If the market turns around, the easiest thing to say, I just look at Apple. If Apple can start a 2 hour or 4 hour today above 140.24, I wouldn't be in a short anymore. Until then, it's probably fine. But that's what I'd be concerned about. If we either start a new day of 4 or a 2 hour today, a new 2 hour, 4 hour today candle above 140.24 in Apple, I'd be concerned about the market pushing back up. And if we start tomorrow above, if not, if we start tomorrow under that level, we should just keep pushing down. And that reef should follow also as well. That's what it seems to be anyway, because we'll have like a new day start somewhere here, and then it should be able to push all the way down here. The week is the only thing that keeps this thing here, which is kind of annoying, but I don't know. I don't know. The week isn't any. Everything's so indecisive here. I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. More or less, I'm a little bit iffy on everything right now, and everything kind of getting sold down. My biggest issue is that we started the day up here and we started the week up here. So just similarly to any of these other time frames, when I think these are under the average, they started in a sense of weakness. Technically, like, there's no average here, but to me, this is fairly strong for what it is. A lot of the times when I see things like this, I like to then see like the next week start here. And if we had another week start right here, let's say we pushed up here and we ended somewhere right here, I mean, this is like a straight short and everything, and the whole market's collapsing like 5-10% in like a day or two. My big issue with this is it's still just like to show the trend. Like it's been a trend for like months, right, or like a year almost at this point, 11 months. It's been a decent trend line, and for us to start above it, it's kind of like so that's why I'm looking for rejection on all the smaller time frames, more or less, as an indicator of moving downwards, because the week isn't going to look bad. Everything's going to look oversold on the week. And the only way this looks good to go down from anyone looking at the week is like if it starts right here next week. So I don't think there's a lot, like the week doesn't look bad pretty much. And then from the day we could see it getting pushed down, but the same thing, we started up here on the day. So it is a little bit of extra overselling on the day. So if we start similarly here, it's possible, even though the week, because the days start above, it's possible we could get a big extension down if we break on the day. The way that this is, boom, it reverses back up to here and then here. So I could see this happening. But like that's the kind of issue with how they play these things, in my opinion. Where the week time frame doesn't look horrible. The day time frame doesn't look horrible just because, right, it's the first day of the week, so they're going to start in the same relative spot. But because this isn't on average, right, it's the same kind of thing. Like with average, it's a little bit different, right? We had, the day 200 here is a little bit more straightforward with it. But I'd like to see, for a heavy pressure, I'd like to see the day start here. We're not going to see the week start here for another week. From a week time frame, maybe people want to leave it in this range and then have it start here. This would be the most bearish possibility for the whole market, as opposed to it just dropping now, right? Because on the next time frame, you have to like pay up, Like usually on the next time frame candle or something, if you have too much selling, I need to make a phone call. I'll be back. I have to make a phone call. My bad, I'm back. Okay. Oh, keep calling. In and out, in and out, in and out. Okay. But yeah, I mean, that's my biggest frickin' issue with this, is it's like, for a clean, like, this is a clean break, like, relative time frame, like, when you see a week start somewhere, in my opinion, when you see a week with a week average, this is a clean break, you know, or, like, something up here was really nice, that we pushed up at the beginning of the week, the day time frame, also, or the week time frame, the day time frame also looks horrible to push down, you know, we get that kind of convergence on the stuff, but it's like for here, it's going to be a real B because they started it here. I feel like to just really push it down. Everything looks horrible, so reality kicks in, then sure. But I'm just hesitant on this with the week starting up here, and the day. I guess the day also technically, but I mean it's kind of inferred. So from a day perspective, if I was a bear, I also wouldn't want to see this go. It's kind of tough to say. Like as a bear, like if I was a mid-term bear, like a couple weeks, and what I would want to see to get the price to push down, like it's already kind of tough. So like a couple of issues that we have here is so there's like kind of couple things that are really tough. So on the week we started in a relatively strong spot compared to the other weeks, which is important to remember. This looks pretty crazy if it turns green, at least to push here, not somewhere up to 145. So that's kind of one issue. But the other issue is, let's say we do start here on the day. Now this is definitely a starting weakness, but they could try to stop this in this relative area and then also push it up. Now I think they wouldn't want to push it up much farther than here and have a day start here, back above, and then push up off of here. And then the next goal is to have a day start here and have this push up and fight right for this area. This seems pretty reasonable. And this is to say what the issue would be if we even do start the day right here tomorrow. Because if you can't break here, why would you want to push it past 138? Because if you can't push it past 138 and the day switches right over here, it just pushes right back up and we have this all over again. You know. Now this was the ugliest buying I've ever seen, but and some of this was actually really ugly too once it got to here. But there's just not a lot of reason to get, in my opinion, from like a midterm bear perspective, there's not a lot of, it doesn't seem like there'd be a lot of desire to push this down right where it is. The week didn't start in a great place. Even if the day starts in a bad place, we have too much selling today. We should have just pushed up and then come back down. Because then you have all this ugliness above. And like then you don't even think about, oh, well, they could stop it here and then, you know, have a day start here. Like, because no one, like this area is already taken out. The sellers, the buyers have already sold, right? And the buyers have already bought, and the people that wanted to sell that already bought and sell, they've sold, right? So you'll have fresh sellers that want to short. You'll have people that just got out that wanted to get out. And right now we deal with this. So we can have that trend change, which is kind of an issue. We have that lower low. You know, people might trade it like an Adam and Eve kind of crap or whatever, where it comes down and almost as low. I don't know if you can consider it if it's that low, but it's like even with this is what kind of concerns me. Even like this is the best place for it to start on tomorrow for it to go down. But the best place for this to start for it to go down could in fact also looks like a decent place. Like bulls can still make it look nice, and to me that's kind of the issue here. All because we started above. I hate to say it, that's that simple. I don't think it is, but that's just how I feel about it when I look at the structure. I think even with the most bearish setup, like that's that. The most bearish thing actually, because this is the most bearish thing from the daytime frame, assuming we start down here. Now the other assumption is this. We just shoot up. The best thing for this is just to let it shoot up. Honestly, let it shoot up. Let it shoot up all the way, even today, all the way up to 145. That is the best thing that could happen. Is just let it shoot up there. And then from here, we've taken out most of this area. We get a lower high. And from here, bears then work this down with the intention of Monday starting here on the day in the new week. That to me is what should be done. Just have it super pop up, wreck out some of these short-term shorts, have it be a bull trap, strike this area again for the next week. That's what I think personally needs to be done. Looking at Apple from this perspective. Otherwise, everything just looks relatively strong. It needs to get, in my opinion, it got sold too much and it needs to get overbought. So, to make it look really, really, really bad, just go again on the new week and then properly have it start where it's supposed to start. So we'll see. I mean, it's possible none of this stuff happens and everything crashes down. So that's always a possibility as well. I just think like for a clean break, that would be preferably what I would like to see. I think it makes it look a lot more obvious than like one directional. Otherwise, there's a decent like reason, even for what I was saying before, there's a decent reason even from a bullish perspective to just hold this. I mean, they could, as long as this doesn't break down any farther, I mean, it could still break down and they could still have this pretty nice candle. Doesn't need to turn green to look nice. They have the wick down, so it's have a switch over, fight, and then you don't even need buyers as much as you need shorters to be worried about this area. Like, you need shorters to not get out of their positions more than anything. Let me see if there's new news. It'll be pretty interesting to see. I also think it's kind of interesting that we've kind of been pushing over, at least holding. I feel like the DXY has been going up, yeah. Which is another, I don't think any of these things are supposed to be here. I'm going to be honest. I don't think the 2 or the 4 or anything is even right there. Yeah, the 4 is under us. Yeah, the 4 is under us. Wild push through. And the 2 is under us. Still wild push through. And the 30 is off Moldova. Anyway, but that's how I feel about it right now. So I definitely feel more bullish than bearish. We'll see what happens. So only just because of that. They're not like more bullish than bearish, I guess, per se. It's not like I want to buy in here. This is still the range. But like it looks like I don't know how to explain it. I'm not bullish enough to put money in right here. I don't think it's worth it to put money in right here. But I also don't think it's worth it to short it here. We'll have the new 2 hours soon, though. So that could get it to push back down. But if we do start the 2 hour above, this will be pretty interesting. We have 12 hours. And I might take a break after that, and I might come back later in the day. I might not. I don't know. but I want to see where this 2 hour ends at least. It might be back on for 1:30. Kind of want to play more of that Yakuza game. It is so good. I have not played. I've played like shooter games for so long and like online multiplayer games. I actually just forgot the beauty of just a well-made single-player game with a good story, and it's actually like powerful. It's pretty wild. It's like actually pretty wild. Definitely like a big fan. I haven't played games like that for a really long time. But let's see, we got 11 minutes, so I don't care. Let's go watch some news or something, or look at news or something in the meantime, just because it's like, or maybe Wall Street bets. I literally have zero desire. Well, let me check NASDAQ. I have like zero desire what happens before that turnaround. What happened here? We push down. Okay, we push down. Well, this is what, the 5 minute up there? Yeah, we still can't get a 5 minute start. So this would actually be interesting to see if we can. This might. Now the position and the range on Apple is like already there, but it will be interesting to see if we could get something to start back above here since we're underneath. Things like this are inherently a little bit weaker, even though it did push up, because it's not a reversal. Right now, if this switched over here, this would be a lot stronger, but we're not changing size of the average. So this would be interesting to see. There's 58 seconds for this, but then there's going to be another one at 26. So it'd be interesting to see if there's a kind of line up. This one still looks really bad though. From a NASDAQ perspective, it's just, gosh, it looks like absolute trash. Absolute trash. What is this? 900, and it went up to what, 907? Okay. I mean, it could do anything. It just looks ugly. Like the fact, I mean, technically we're on the top side of this at all. I don't want to say there's anything special because we push up from a place of weakness, come back to test, and then fail. I literally don't care. Like this is why I don't look at half this stuff half the time. Just take a look at it. What's the time frame? What relative time frames matter? And okay, I'll see it at the other time frame, right? And it doesn't really matter at all. Okay, so let's just pull this up over here. And then I'll leave this here. And let's check news. What am I? This is my. Oh, let me get out of this really quick. I don't know why I'm logged in. Yeah, don't have me logged in, please. Thank you. Is this mine? What is this? Oh, that's not even the right profile. Yoinks. Well, I'm going to have to figure out my stuff to sign back in, but it's not a big deal. Okay, 1 second. Let's see what's going on. I can put my rice on soon too. I'll check that after the 2 hour. Oh, gilt yields explode higher. Let's check that out. Okay. Oh, whoops. I need to get rid of that thing on the bottom right too. Look at this stuff. What is this stuff at? Ooh, the 2 years at 4.3. Let's just look at the day time frame. And a little ugly with that day switch there, but 4.308, 3 years 4.39. This looks pretty nice though, 3 year. I mean, it'll probably like there's no way the 2 year doesn't pass the 3 year, right? But it's going to. But where's the 1 year? 4.1. That's wild. I feel like the 2 year should pass the 3 years soon. 1 year is so close to passing both of them. Anyway, what are the gilts? Oh my God, this is higher than when they said they were going to start their quantitative easing or like restart their QE. That was Tuesday, I think, was the day they announced it. Or well, I think it was Tuesday. I don't remember if it was Tuesday, to be honest. I think it was Tuesday though. I mean, it could have been. I mean, it dropped Wednesday, so it's possible. Maybe it was. I don't know which one it was. I feel like it was Tuesday for. No, because they're only 6 hours, 5 hours ahead. It doesn't matter. They did it around one of these 2 days. I don't care. And they said they do it to October 14th. This was already. Man, the 10 years already back. Is it above? No. So it hasn't made like a new high yet. But gosh. Where's the crazy one? The 3 years or the 1 year? Okay, the 1 year's not as insane. I mean, this thing had some crazy spikes. I feel like they're spending a lot of their time. I don't know if they're buying like 1 year bonds or whatever. But this is like some crazy price action, which is why I wonder. Wow, that's insane. Actually pretty crazy for what it's worth. What a shame if we ended, like literally if we have another 2 hour that ends under here. I mean, it should still hold, but geez, it could just be another wave down. What a shame if it does. Now all it has to do is practically end where it is right now, I think. What is the date time frame? What are we looking at, a 2 hour? It was 2 hours switch over. So it's like 140.20 still. Whoops. There we go. That's nice. We got to start above finally. That's a big push up, but we finally got to start above 10 years later. That's good. I didn't know if we're actually going to see this at 21. I thought it was going to take until 26 to see this, just considering how much it was struggling here. I mean, it's got a pretty large range and it's pushed from the bottom. It pushed so high up in that last wick, though. We got, what, 3.5 minutes? And there's no reason to, like, push it up. Or not, like, push it up. There's, the candle needs to start above, so even if they were to push the price up right now, they'd have to keep it here. I'm sorry, let me do this. The target's right here for the next 5-minute ends. So it like doesn't matter. They have 3 minutes to push it up. It literally doesn't matter. They do it now. They had to leave it up, right? Not that it's like has to hit the target. It needs to start up there. So to that same effect, I don't know why they're selling it down so much because you want to have as much of like downwards pressure on this. They still have another 2.5 minutes left. The 5 minutes started in a relatively strong place. It could have started a little bit stronger, but the 5 minutes still started in a relatively strong place for Apple. I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever at all if it does start above that 15 cent above, or like 16 cents up from where it is right now. Because like they keep trying to push it down, but all you need is, I think about it, it's 140, and you only need to put it up 15. That's 0.1%, right? So they only need to push it up 0.1% more or less, or like 0.15% within. I mean, to do that, it takes what, 15 seconds, 20, 30 seconds. So I'm not saying it's going to happen, but get it, they get it, and then we're engaged in the other range. So bulls have to fight for another minute and a half. Bears, whatever. Bum, 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 bum. 1 minute, 10 seconds. Banana. I mean, we can even just like kind of see around this line. I mean, there's been so much action around here. So. Personally, I hope they push it up. Just wreck all the shorters out. Get the price pushed up as quick as possible. Let's get a super pump. Let's get a bull trap going on. If it really is going to go down, then let's go up like, what, 3%? Maybe 4%. Bull trap it, come back down, start the week right where we are right now, and then we can just keep moving down. They have 20 seconds, though, so we'll see if they can do it. It's going to be a fairly ugly 2 hour if they don't. I imagine, anyway. Yeah. Where stuff is right now, I could definitely see it. For me, like, the biggest thing about Bitcoin, I don't know too much about the, like, short terms. To me, the entry point was all the way back here when we had our week change, because we had our convergence of our 2s and our 4s. This was right before, this was right when the week started. So this looks like a decent area. We had a little bit of a divergence of what it was doing at the trend line here, which was a little bit concerning. Seemed to be moving the market. I think where it is right now, it probably will continue moving down. I'd be looking for strength from the market since the market's open. And the kind of issue we have here is that we've started in a weak place once again for the market on the 2 hour anyway. The 1 hour we started underneath and then we pushed back down, we held. Now we're here at the 2 hour. I imagine it'll trend back down again a little bit. The week and the day are fairly strong for where they are, so I don't know if this really has to push down. And Bitcoin follows the market a lot. The big places for Bitcoin for me that I would be concerned about if I was like heavily weighted in it. Let me get rid of this crap because it doesn't matter. There we go. Is here. So like from the 200 SMA perspective or the smooth perspective, we got January 15. We have another hit all the way down here, and then that was like 2020, I think, right? Yeah, 2020, and then here recently. So for me, this is like that 18K that I'm concerned about, 18,025. And I don't think, like, it's always bounced there for the last 7 years. So it's never come back and touched it again, and it's also never started a week under it. That's why I think it's really bad if we do start a week under it. But from that perspective, I think that's why this is a fairly safe range. There's a couple other issues of the day being all the way down here. So I do think if we ever do collapse down, we're falling pretty hard. It's all the way down to 17.3, and then our ranges, so this is AIDS. But our ranges are pretty much, let me do this actually. But then what the heck is this? Oh, 1863, okay, so that's supposed to be the line. But then, so my big concern is here. And like for anything that's really bullish, I think the biggest issue, in my opinion, for Bitcoin is that I don't think there's a huge rush, because I think oh, I missed a phone call. Whoops, my phone was... 1 second. I gotta call back 1 second. I'll be back in a second. Well, they're trying to buy it up, even though we started under. I kind of was hoping that we'd push down a little bit and then try to push back up. I'm not a huge fan. Well, I mean, there's a couple things about it here, but overall, I'm not. Like, this is also a place where I'm not a huge fan of it necessarily getting bought up from. This is another time, like, we'll see what happens. Like, yes, this is our range. We start here. We really should be starting here. That my issue with this, in a sense, is that if we start somewhere up here, let's say on like a 4 hour, I still think we're coming back down to test. It's overbuying. If we start under, like this is, to me, this is overbuying. And this gives more credence for this to push down. At least if this just pushes down when we start to here, we have some easy targets and we've never hit back up at this line on the new 2 hour. So that gives it a place to return back to. I'm not a big fan of this. But what I was saying with Bitcoin, like one of my big things about Bitcoin is that like I don't know if there's like a huge reason to be worried about it. For me personally, I think if we can get to this place by like mid-October, then we're fine, like 22.5, and then by late October, like early November, if we can get up here, and just to kind of show like the context of it, I can do this. This is change the settings again and again. Actually, let me do this. I could have done something else, but let me see. Wait, it should be up here, shouldn't it? There we go. 1 second. It's the easier way to find it because it's so long ago. Yeah. So we just kind of look at it like this anyway. Maybe we can see blah blah. Okay, so we're down here now. But if we just look at this more or less. Okay, anyway, just pay attention to like the lines, right? So we're under the pink one, and then there's this up here. But this is why I'm like mentioning these. So, and then we can just see kind of like these shift pitchforks and how they kind of play out. So we can see like the median line, blah blah blah. Here's where we come and hit, blah blah blah. So we can just see these kind of extensions, these trends. So when we look at this from all the way here, we don't have a lot of recent data. Most of it is either on the top side, or a lot of it's like here, you know, and here, right? We can see these areas here. But this is why I'm saying like somewhere around that 31K, because that's what this is going to bring us to from a more zoomed out perspective. So, and I think that gives us a decent chance to push up and try into some of these areas. So even if someone's not in here, I mean, it looks like there's a lot to gain here, and I think there's a possibility of like 100K if they could reach here by this point in time. Will it do it? I highly doubt it, but I do think it's possible. So in that sense, like, I feel a little bit similar to Bitcoin as I do about the market, and a little bit of a sense to where I don't think it, like I get why people want to be in it. It makes some sense to me, you know. And like from the last like buy point, if someone was being stingy, when we actually came down to the dollar, is here on the average, you know. But it's just, you know, here and we came back. We haven't come back, which is weird. So it's one of those things where it just seems like there's not a huge reason to sell, but there's not a huge reason to buy. There's a lot of stuff under us that if we drop through looks really horrible, and there's a lot of stuff above us, like only, maybe 20% above, that looks really great. And yeah, it might be 20% above, but there's like 30% gains to be had, and then 31% or 31,000, which is like around 50% above. I mean, there's still possible like 300% gains, you know, or 50 to like 300% gains. So it's just one of those things where, you know, it's, I don't know, it's kind of like in between for a lot of it. It just needs to choose a direction. So dropping down here is really ugly. And going up looks really good. It's not choosing a direction. And it's not pushing through any of this stuff either as well. Like, this is hell to push through. I don't know why it doesn't want to push down. So if I had to say whether it's going to go up or down, I'd say it's going down. But I don't reason. Like, I don't think there's a reason to be in number one. I think the reason to be in gets up here, and I think the reason to short comes in a week starting under here and then a day starting under here to bring us under here. And then if we can start a day under 15K, we should then move to like 11. I think it's like 11.8 or 12K, pretty much. So I just don't see a reason to like be in, and I don't see a reason to short. Like, I don't see a reason to long. I don't see a reason to short. I don't see a reason to be in, to be honest. That's just my take on it, more or less, anyway. Like, most of the gains come not where it is now, but if it reaches into another direction. And most of the short gains come not from where it is now, but if it reaches into another direction. Or if it keeps moving. Right? So, that's pretty much that. And the market just can't seem to have proper buying on anything. Like, this is like some of the dumbest stuff I've seen in a while. Like, what are they trying to do? What are they, like, if they want to buy it up here, then why didn't they just have the 2 hours start right up here? Why do we have the 2 hours start right here and then we try to buy it up afterwards? Like, what are we doing? Like, what's the point of this? Is this like just be an idiot hour? I don't understand what people are doing. They could just let it sell down and then catch it and then push it back up. Anything that doesn't drop under here is relatively safe. Now they pushed it up already, so this could be pretty ugly if it has to come down now. But they could have just let this thing drop and it would have gotten bought. I don't get it. You can check NASDAQ. Maybe there's something there. Maybe the fight's going a little bit better over on NASDAQ instead of Apple. And barely, I would say. Barely. I mean, it looks like we started under again, so I don't even know. Is this under above? It looks like it might just be on it. Alright, what's the line at? 1105, and we opened at... Wait, what? No, that's not the right one. Where is it? Why can't I see it? There we go. So, yeah, I mean, they opened at... This is ubiquitous to me. I don't interpret anything here. It opened at the... We look at the open and the average. It opened at exactly at what the average was. So, this isn't above or under to me. It doesn't mean anything specifically. And because it's ended under, I don't think anything of it. Ending doesn't matter to me, whether it ends under or above. So hopefully we can see something else to like cement in one direction or another. But this seems to be pretty apt for the situation, starting right on the line. So where's the 15 at? We're still way above. Yeah, and this is coming down, which is another issue also as well. This 0.1 that we have here. It's only like, what, 45 minutes before this starts hitting up with this area and becoming an issue if this does trend back up. So, people can't buy properly, people can't sell properly. It's just like, and it's not to say we can't go up, but if we go up, there's a high chance we have to test. Well, yeah, depends how ugly they want to make it. And how stupid the shorters are, to be honest. I don't know. Do I think anyone's dumb for shorting Apple on that 2 hour switch? Actually, maybe it's not that dumb. I think it's fairly reasonable to expect the price to go down. I just don't, like I said before, I just don't like it on the week and the day time frame, and that, to me, that makes everything else a little bit tougher to like expect any certainty. So I think this on the shorter term makes it look worse than it does before. We could just have ugly buying and selling, even if we like push up. The hope is that like, somehow we manage to come back here. But this is a 5 minute. But the hope is that somehow, God, it's just so ugly. Okay, so the issue here is like, okay, on the 2 hour, we're not going to see another 2 hour here until the next until another 2 hours, right? Or another hour and 45 minutes. So we're not really in this area. Everything is kind of overbuying to this extent. Anything that's above right now of 140.20 is overbuying. The higher we go, it's fine. Just don't get wrecked back down. And then if we go up here and we start like the next 2 hour here with the 4 hour and the 2 hour, it's probably going to push back down. It has to come back down to test, and that's to hold this area. And then technically we could have, if that does happen, we could have a day that starts here and then just get pushed down just tomorrow. Just a lot of ugly stuff. I don't know why they can't just like let it sell down. It wouldn't go that far if they just let it sell down initially. Like, I don't care about the price right now. I'll say that again and again. But from a perspective of just watching what they're doing, like, the buyers have no idea what they're doing. Just let the sellers sell and then buy it up. Like, what's the goal here? Just doesn't make sense what the goal is for like anything to actually have an extended movement up and like keep moving up. Makes zero sense. Oh well, I'll give it another 14 minutes maybe. I'm bored. I'm just gonna go rest. Play my Yakuza 0. Dame, dame, blah, 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 blah. I don't even know what this means either. Hello guys, where are we looking for? Yo, what's up, Richie? It's good to see you back. Today looks pretty ugly. It's kind of like in between though. Actually, I mean, like, so from a couple of perspectives, I'll just give the quick rundown. So we're looking to see what we do. We started the week in the day in a fairly strong place. They oversold it. So from a week and a day perspective, it's kind of like, why did you sell it down, pretty much? So they kind of have to contend with that. On the week and the day are strong. The shorter time frames haven't shown strength yet, and it's just a lot of ugly buying, right? So I mean, we can like, regardless of anything, we started here. We can see with this average. It's just been a fairly strong average for what it's worth. You know, even if we see on like the daytime frame. Oops, not the top one, the bottom one, right? It's been a fairly strong average for what it's worth. So we start above this. Week in the day look fine. We get a 1 hour. We push down way too far, overselling. Starts here. We don't start above. We start here. Finds resistance. Push it down because we start the first 1 hour under. Get the next 1 hour under, which is also a 2 hour. And now this one starts under, and we're trying to push up again. So from the day and a week perspective, it could push up, but the shorter time frames don't make it look that good. And another issue is if we push up too far, we could, then turn over and come back down and start the next day here, and that makes things look really bad. So it's just a lot of dumb buying and a lot of dumb selling, I think, on both sides. I kind of get why I guess it got sold in the morning because of the NASDAQ. From that perspective, I suppose it makes sense when we think about that. I suppose because with the 2 hour averages, if we look at it from the NASDAQ, I still think this is overselling. They should have just had it get sold, or they should have just had it end. And all they had to do is leave it up here, and around 10 o'clock then push it down. That would have made this look a lot better. So I think this is still oversold even for what it is. And right now stuff is just getting overbought. So not that it can't go up, it's just if they want to have it continue to go up, it's not going to be the prettiest. But I don't know why these people all shorted here. When we started, like, we clearly started above. Like, why are we shorting? Or let me go to like a 30-minute. Like, I mean, it's clear. And we started above. So why, why are are they shorting it right off the bat? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Like from a good price action perspective, and I don't understand why they're even buying it now because like you can just clearly see that. I mean, technically, they could be that these guys, the shorters, are just getting screwed over by everybody that's shorted down here in the paper hands that want to get out. But I still think it's stupid buying. Why not? Why couldn't they just grab the spy? You can just clearly see 30 minute, 30 minute, 30 minute. I mean, constantly. So it's not like this is just a random line. It's definitely being respected. But in that same sense, even from a 30 minute or whatever under, I'd still like to see something start around here and then push up. Right? So it's just a lot of dumb, like I said, it's a lot of dumb buying, a lot of dumb selling. So I don't know if anyone's technically winning right now. The week and the day make it look more bullish than anything, but it could easily just get overbought all the way back up to 142.64, all the way to like 145 possibly. Get wrecked back down in the middle of the week. Do we have FOMC stuff? Do we have Fed meeting stuff in the middle of the week? It is the middle of the, right? First week, second week, is it the second Wednesday of the month, I think? I believe, anyway. So that could also be another kind of catalyst. So, we'll see. Dumb buying, dumb selling. These people could get this thing wrecked all the way back down if it just pushes up. Ugh. So I don't really care about most of this stuff, to be honest. I don't think there's usually a lot to do. Like scalp maybe, but there's usually not a lot to do on anything besides that when it's just dumb buying and dumb selling. Dumb buying, dumb selling. So, because I trust none of this. Just as much as this is up here, I can see all this stuff just pushing right back down. We haven't started above. Let's clearly just start above. Or let's like start slightly under on a significant time frame, like a day. But we're not going to see a day start under. That's not going to be possible until tomorrow. And Monday is the only time we can see a week start under. So it is what it is. But I think I have another 8 minutes and I'm probably done for the day. I don't want to waste my time with a market that's just getting bought by I don't know who's buying what or why they're buying it, but they're not doing things correctly. I mean, look at that. I mean, just look at that price action around this trend line. And I'm supposed to believe this, that it just wants to pop up without any support right here to then push up. Like, nah. It's a big nope. Nope for me. Especially on a day when we start back in the range. Wild. Man, Credit Suisse is down 10% today. Were they just up recently? I guess it was like that debt buyback thing or whatever. I don't know what it was. Something with their debt was getting bought or something like that. Hey, get right. Credit Suisse. Suisse these nuts. Troll. Get wrecked by the market. Oh man. It'll be interesting to see where this thing ends. There's a lot of conflicting stuff. Probably just moving with the market and the fact that it's also just Credit Suisse. I won't trade this with a 10-foot pole. Okay. Ooh. Let's get this stuff out of the way. What's up there, the 30s? No. What was this, the 15s? I don't know why I had this here in the morning. Oh, so this was the 5. anyway, so I guess we'll just leave this here for now, maybe? No, I guess we'll leave it there. And the other one's a 15. I'm gonna have to label this, I don't care, we'll do this. I do like what they're doing with the NASDAQ. Ubiquitous kind of start right here, so it starts on the average. What do we get at 15? Another 5 minutes from now? So we get one more 5. Decent amount of overselling though on it. So the whole buy-up was somewhat questionable in itself. The whole buy-up was like right here was very questionable. Very questionable. And even from a NASDAQ perspective, it was very questionable. Can't call it overbuying or overselling though when we start on the line. And then we got one more 5 minute. Can we start the next 15 above 10,950? Well, I guess technically it's going to be 10,940, like 46 or whatever. Well, I mean, it's going to be down like what right here instead of all the way up here. So, kind of seeing that. I wouldn't be surprised if this stuff pops up. It's a shame to think, though, that we could, like the feeling I have right now, it's either the higher time frames, it's either where we start those higher time frames just invalidate these lower time frames a whole lot, or it's actually bad buying for a lot of this, and bad selling, and we're going up just to come back down. Which I really don't like. I really hope it's not the latter. Because I don't feel like going up just to come back down. It just feels like a waste of time. See if we can get it. I mean, technically, right where it is already good enough. It just needs to wait for another 4.5 minutes, so. Might not be able to stop it on the 5, we'll see. As much as I hate all of this. So ugly. Like, right, we come in, okay, I thought there was some here, and then we come and we hit the 15 here. So is this going to be something that we can beat now, or like, I will give it a did start over on the 15, but we don't see that on the 2 or anything. Even on the 30. So now we have pressure on the 15, and on the 15 we need to start above like 140.70. I don't know what the hell this is going to be. 140.73. 140.74. And then maybe we get a push up. Maybe we see this start over 74. I don't like this though, so. One thing that is kind of nice though is that it's at least on the shorter time frames for Batwares, for the Bears anyway, or the Bears, is that it sucks that they hit the line up here. It really does. It's kind of stupid. You can also just kind of see it hits back in this area anyway. But the only nice thing about this is we'll have a 30-minute start somewhere around here. It might. One issue is decent chance it comes back down a little bit harder on the 30-minute 2 test. One nice thing is at least it starts above in the 30-minute. But like I said, it's just so much like just bad buying and bad selling. It's just all it is. All day. Bad buying, bad selling. And the NASDAQ still needs to push up and push down. It needs to be at that 46 or whatever. 10,946. So, yeah. It's not far away. It's like 12, so it's only like 12 points. Not really that big of a deal. And there's one more minute for it, like 50 something seconds. So we do every 30 minute. I think it's more likely to push down than push up. I'd hope it'd push down at least before it pushes back up. The average moved down, so like if it pushes up and it looks like a lower high, that wants to then come back down to test. So please just test before it touches the lower high. At least, right? I feel like that makes sense. Like, don't give people a chance to sell out. Because anyone that top bought, they're like, man, come back to my price. Come back to my price. Come back to my price. We have another 15 seconds, and it looks like almost for sure Nasdaq's not going to start where it needs to in the 15. Because, I mean, it's at 3 right now. It's another 6 seconds. So the chances that it starts above where it needs to, like right here, look pretty slim. Still on an uptrend, so it's not horrible. You know, but if we just kind of look what's at this area anyway. Right, we have a convergence of this 15-minute average. And the reason I don't think nothing else is nearby, right? Just if anyone just coming in or anything like that, right? The day is all the way up here. 12 hours all the way up there. 4 hours up here and right here. So that's why I'm not looking at these other averages, right? 2's there, already pushes down. So same kind of thing. Could just get a lower high here if it wants to push up. Same thing as well. This is what I'm saying. It's a stupid buying. Like just like from a 30-minute time frame perspective, just get sold down. I don't think if this comes down right now, it's gonna fall through here. I think if this pushes up, it has a much greater chance of falling back through. Now it's going to take a little bit more time because we just had 30 that started above, so anything over this, right, it's overselling. So, you know, we could range in between here, in between this area. And the worst thing would be to see like another hour start around here and have another trend down. So we have, what, an hour and a half left before the next 4 hour? Yeah, the next 4 hour candle. Preferably not see one that starts under. I don't know how much it matters too much, but probably not see one that starts under. So we can just keep seeing bad buying. Bad selling gets good buying, but then they just do bad buying, and that gets good selling, and it's like nobody's winning. Nobody's winning. Bum, 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 bum. Put me to sleep, man. What's going on? These 15-minute boys, these short time frame guys are like, yeah, this looks great. Let's get it pushed up. 30-minute boys are like, come on, man, just let it settle down. What's your problem? That's how I feel. Like, what's their problem right now? Just let it settle down. Like, it's not that. Like, if someone had a guess, who the hell thinks that, like, ignore the line here. Look at this. Who thinks, like, look at this area. I'm not saying it's, just do the visible. I mean, look at this area. I'd be like, good Lord. It's stacked. It's stacked just in the last 2 days. We can even show like the last 2 days. There we go. It's stacked right here. We'd have to fall under here to then try to push and then start something down here also afterwards as well. We started the 2 hour right here in it. We have to start something under it if we want to push down the short term. So it's like, just let it drop. Like it's pretty wild. Right? Like we can even see it here looking at these last 2 days. Like, it's fine to let it drop. There's no need to worry here. And yet they want to buy it. Okay. And yet they want to buy it up again. Okay. I'll give it at least it's a little bit better. They still should just have it hit. Gosh. Just so ugly. If someone wants me to look at something, I can take a look at something, but I think this kind of sums up what most of the day is going to be. I feel like we're more bullish than bearish. We'll see what happens on the next 4 hour. The big issue is that both the week of the day are pretty strong, so I don't know if there's really much to look at for the whole day. It's just going to be this, most likely this bouncy. Stuff could happen. I'm just not going to wait for it to. There's a lot of different things that could happen here. If we could start the 4 hour above here, I think it's Gucci to push up, and bears need to be careful. Everything's inherently more bullish than it is bearish. And for things to be really bearish, I think that we need to have a day that starts under here. It's going to be hard to offset the week that just started back above here. The buying's horrible, but I don't see why it can zigzag. There's a reason to shoot for bulls anyway, to have it start right here. So, I mean, they could literally just leave it. Preferably anywhere in this range is probably what bulls want more than bears. It's just not. It's not a time to be a bear, in my opinion. Because the bad selling, bad buying, is just followed by, once it gets sold, just followed by bad selling, which kind of screws it over for the bears. But this is like pretty beneficial. There's more to gain from bulls having it here. I don't like, because we already have a day and a week that looks bullish, or that started in a more so of a bullish position than any of the other time frames, and those are longer time frames. So any kind of confluence in the short time frame adding to that is going to make it look pretty decent, right? And we could even kind of see from here the overwhelming bearishness we had. This is a start. This is where we started today. So once we push under for all the rest of it, start up, under. So now we're just essentially fighting for this area, but it just doesn't make sense for me to like necessarily at all to be a bull here. Maybe to bear, my bad. So, and on the 2 hour we started under, so the 2 hours, like all this, anything above this, like this is the trend, this is the average. So this is all overbought, in my opinion, until we get something that's nice on it, that wants to bounce on it. So we haven't had anything that starts above it. So don't really trust in it now. Don't think it's the time to long this now. In the 4, we don't have a 4 hour change, so I don't really think this is the time to long it either. 4 hour change above definitely looks like it could be, and then it'll kind of go in line with also having the day here as well. I don't think Ripple is dependent on Bitcoin a little bit, but it does its own kind of thing. It will do its own kind of thing. I actually haven't checked it recently. I remember there was something I was looking for. Usually I stream yesterday and I didn't. Are we over 50? BNX? Yeah, I'll take a look at BNX in a second. I actually probably really like this now. There is one thing I really like, so I'll say this first of all. I really do like this about Ripple. We'll see what happens with the market. I think overall everything is more bullish than bearish right now. It's a little bit bearish, but I think on the longer time frames for where it is, it's kind of just waiting to be bullish. For Apple, I think an easy kind of thing would be a couple ways I'd look at this. Apple, I think the 4 hour that starts above was at 140.20. Looks pretty nice. If we could see that today, and I think a lot of things have a decent chance to push back up from there. We have such a big sell down here. When it comes to Ripple, one thing I do like about Ripple is it did start the week above. It could be starting to get ready for something big. So what I do really like about Ripple here, that was it. That was Saturday, right? Yeah, because we want Sunday, right? So Sunday here is the new day, right? Let me see. Yeah, the new day switched all the way up here. So while I really like this, and I think that's like it's pretty cool that it came down and it bounced here. Um, there's kind of a couple. I'll say a couple things. So here's like our week 200. This looks pretty nice. We can kind of see the goal is to get the week to end somewhere close, but above it. And we can see like it ended somewhere over here or whatever. It just pushed down the other week. So we can see it's a pretty strong line. And so we bounced here, but this was Saturday's day time frame change. This wasn't the new week. So I do like actually where this has started. It just depends on what someone wants to do with it. So the kind of cool thing about it is even if we were to get in a position here, it's like I would say it kind of depends where it is. Really the best place is to get in as close as possible to it, right? Something here is like 1.15%. There's not that big of a loss. Support is over here at 4%. Most likely if it comes down to 0.49240, it pops back up at least to this spot, and it's possible to get out for no loss. That looks very, very likely. One thing I do like about this, we can kind of just look at it in a second, is I really like that this is back on top of the week 200 here. We can't see it. There's not a lot of data for it. How long has this been out? It should have been out long enough. Yeah. Maybe because it is Ripple, yeah. So there's not a whole lot of old data to kind of go along with this. Let me just kind of show. Just one of those things too. We hit here. So it's kind of hard to show, but I'll show the dollar in a sense, or I'll show Ripple to Bitcoin in a sense. That should have a little bit more data we can kind of look at. But I do really like where it is now. We don't have a lot of old data to look at, but I do like where we are right now. So we can kind of see this in the past days. This was support that pushed us. That this was resistance anyway. Once we fell under it, which was tragic, and then from that perspective, right, it just kind of crumbled all the way down from there. I believe anyway. Let me see. Averages push down. Yeah. Anyway, and then it does its thing. Should be somewhere around where we are now. Yeah. Okay. So this is like a pretty big area where it is. I think it's pretty decent where it is right now. I don't like everything else. Hey Casey, what's up? Good to see you back. But I do like for what it is worth where it started. I think Ripple to Bitcoin, there's some level nearby here also as well. The week time frame is a little bit farther up. It's all the way. It looks like it's like 20% up almost, 15% up. So that's what up here at 3117. So it's okay for what it is, and with the fib level, I'd like to at least see maybe. Since we got wrecked with a 4-hour under here, I think we could even say, what's their previous data? We could even say possibly with a 2-hour starting above Ripple to Bitcoin being at 2781. I think that could be sufficient to see push up. I think it's really just waiting for Ripple to Bitcoin at this point. I think Ripple to the dollar looks like it's in a pretty strong place. All things considered. So and the reason I say like a 2-hour, the larger time frame, the better. The reason I say a 2 hour is looking at the previous data. For recent times, I mean, this goes farther back than just there, right? I mean, it goes like here and all this. So like the longer time frame, the better. But just on the most recent stuff, anyway, it looks like not even just a day is failing to start above it, but also 12, 4. Even like 2 hours. The longer time frame, the better. So that's how it always is for me. It's a lot more trustworthy. Otherwise, right, we start under overextension, in my opinion, and then right we collapse right back down. So, but I think recently Bitcoin's not been moving, or Ripple's not been moving Bitcoin. Another big thing was I think it was Ripple to Bitcoin. Yeah, like right here. Here's another big one where we came into this range. Right, we range between. This was September 9th. This was when, or September 8th. I don't know, it says September 9th, but it's whatever. Right? That's technically actually was September 9th. But this is when Bitcoin popped up. Right, this was Bitcoin pushing up here. Here we go. It's right here. So this is Bitcoin pushing up here. So there's no surprise that Ripple Bitcoin got shot down there, and then right we come back above on the 16th. Where this starts at a pretty nice day. It turns out uglier, But it starts a pretty nice day, and then the shit gets its go ahead, starts above, comes back up, and pushes off of the day, and that kind of leads us to where we are now. So I think it's fairly decent for what it is. I think ever since then, or for decent for the last couple like weeks, I guess, or months. When was this? I guess like last couple of weeks, it's definitely been doing its own kind of thing. It could have fundamentals that play in its favor too. I don't know. Personally, I don't really care. But to me, this is kind of like the important range that it needs to get into between like 2781 and like 3110. I mean, it's 3119 up here, but it's kind of like whatever. Expecting it to hit a target exactly is kind of dangerous in my opinion. So, but that's kind of how I feel. I don't think it's like super dependent. Now, if Bitcoin crashes, Ripple's gonna crash to trash, almost for sure. But Bitcoin has to start a week under 18K for anything like that to even be considered. So, I'm not worried about Bitcoin crashing unless it starts the week under 18K. And it can only start the week on Sunday, right? With the day time frame change. So if it gets sold under 18K before that, I interpret that as overselling. It has a chance to come back up before the week's over. That's how I look at it. BNX coin. 1 second. My bad, Richie. BNX. Was this 21? November. Huh. I think 50. 49, huh? Interesting. Okay, 1 second. Definitely a little weird. Guess this is all September. Anything else? Kind of all over the place a little bit. What the hell? Okay. Okay. Just keep easy. Okay, we got a 4 hour. Okay, this adds some explanation as to why. I don't understand why stuff gets bought up so much. Or why, like, the shoot downs and the buy ups. October's, I don't know what happened October 2nd, I don't remember. October 3rd was actually pretty decent. That's gotta be a fat finger, right? I mean, it's a huge, okay, first of all, do I even give a crap? No, there's 334 volume with an average of 310 volume. So no, I don't care about this. Not like I don't care about this, but I don't care about these vibes and these sell downs. It literally, I guess I'm a little curious though. 411. So I will say that is like anyway compared to recent 10-day average, it is like 12x the 10-day average in one day. Wait, what? No, that the average over 10 days. Yeah. What you call it? Yeah, so I mean, these are like crazy. Yeah, 377. Okay, so there's not too much volume anyway. Okay. Simplest thing for me is, I'd like to see a 12-hour start above. So a couple things I'd like to see, just kind of keep it simple. I'd like to see a 12-hour start above 8,008. And I'd preferably like it to start above, not something where it starts under and then pushes above. I mean, it could just go up. I don't like things like this. As I've said time and time again, I don't like things that start under and then push up. Just like I don't like things that start above and then push so freakishly far down. I don't like it in either direction. So it'd be nice to see a 12-hour start above 8,008. The next place would be after that. If I saw that, I'd look for a 12-hour that starts above 8,008, somewhere in this short relative range, maybe at most. 8,000 is like, what, 1%, right? Yeah, no more than like 1% up, really. And even if it does start above, I'd still like to get it coming back to 8,008. I mean, it's going to be a little bit higher, right? So we could say 8,000, what's that, 9? So 8,000, like 15. So like something that starts above 8,000, around 8,020 is what I'd like to see. 8,020 to 8,050, I think would be pretty decent on a 12-hour. And that's within like the next 12-hour to like the next 12 hours, because obviously this is moving up at a rate of 9 sats. And so I'd like to see something there, and then if we could see something here, we could then expect it to push up. So like a 4-hour, which would be right here. So essentially this is like the range, it looks like. And then I'd like to see it get above this. It's a 12 fighting into a 4, so it should be fine. But I'd just like to see it win this before messing with it. Preferably. At least it's worth 142, so if it's 400, what is that, like 60,000, I think, right? 100 to 100 is like 10,000. Yeah. So at least that's like $60,000 average per day. It's not bad. But that's like the Bitcoin anyway. This looks ass ugly. What's the... Okay, at least this has some decent volume. 7.6K. Is this even on the same exchange? Yeah, BNX Bitcoin Finance. Okay. So what's that, 7,000? That's nice. So that's like close to $1 million or something. Right? That is over $1 million. It's over $1 million bucks today. I don't like it where it is. I think it's fine in the same sense if we could get it's okay. I don't like it. I'm not a huge fan of it. So there's a couple things. Like, right, my first thought is, okay, not just if this can start above it. The main reason is that we've come under. I don't know what the hell this is. But the main reason is we've come under. And I could see it testing back up and pushing back up. My main concern is really just kind of this whole area. Man, this is why I hate the... Anyway, but just in the short term, right, a lot of it starts to pick up, like right here. Or like right there, technically. So obviously we can see like the most weighted at this short term anyways right here. But I'm not a huge fan. Even if this comes under, it looks. Even if this comes up, it looks a little weak. But from a 12-hour perspective, I think it could be worth a shot. I'm not a huge fan of how it looks like right there, though. It's ugly on the 12 where it currently is. Well, technically we started slightly above. Looks like we started above and then pushed under, right? Yeah. Wait, didn't we just start this hour? The hell? I guess it's not that much of a price change, I guess. The heck? How quick did this thing get bought up and then sold back down? Oh, okay. I mean, I kind of like where it is right now. I don't hate it. I mean, this did end and start above, specifically start above, so I do kind of like it from that perspective. If it doesn't, I don't like where it is, and I wouldn't buy it where it is, but it makes me like this area on what is this, a 12 hour? Yeah, it still makes me like this 12 hour a bit more. Let me see what rate this is moving up at. 0.1, 0.2, 0.1. So it's moving up at 0.1 or 0.2, so it's going to be at 154.1 or 154.3. I'd like to see a 12-hour start above there. I think it's pretty reasonable if it can do that. So I don't think this is that weak where it is right now for me personally, because it did start slightly above. I think it did, right? What is it at? Oh, did it start on it? No, it started on it. So I have no opinion on the current candle actually. It started, we can just see up here, it started at 152.4 and it opened, we can see right here at 152.4. So I have no specific feeling about this, good or bad on the short term. I don't think it's a buy here anyway, because we had the 12-hour right here, and it's like, well, it's not a huge, it's not even really like, it's like 1% at most between this area. So I'd like to see that 12-hour, I think that looks pretty decent for it. So if we get a 12-hour that starts above 154.0, and then over here I think it was 8,007 or 8,000 or 8,015, because this is going to be up a little bit more, so it's going to be like right 8,000, like 16. So anywhere in this area, this would be pretty nice, and this looks fairly reasonable. I'd like to see it do that. From where it is now, I have no faith in this 12-hour. It's possible it hits up here and then it turns over and it comes down here and then it comes back down under. It could also easily be possible that, my lines are horrible, but it could also easily be possible that it gets pushed up here, it starts over here and then it pushes up. It could do something like that also pretty well, or pretty easily as well. I just don't like it where it is. It started under, so I just don't like it. I don't trust it. So, you know. Not to say that it can't push up, I just question how much strength, continued strength it'll have, and a lot of it with the market anyway. So it kind of is what it is. So, what are these idiots doing now? You're just still ranging pretty much. Yeah, I don't know why they bought it up so high. Oversold from a 15. This doesn't surprise me at all though. Overbuying and overselling seems to be the name of the game on a lot of this stuff. Yeah. That's how I feel about most of this. I still feel like we're more bullish than bearish. So we'll see what happens with it. I think a lot of it is going to depend on the 4-hour. The week and the day can kind of keep it in, but the 4-hour to me is the next big one besides the day and the week. The 4-hour could definitely have some weight on what happens. So I think just for, even for bears, the best hope is to have it start right here and then have it break under this and then on like a shorter time frames push down on the day. That's what I believe anyway. Otherwise, if they can't get the 4-hour start under, no, I think that's still the strongest, right? Because the week is going to take another 4 or 5 days to get to, trading days. So I don't know if there's a huge reason for bull bears to want to like short at this point as opposed to keep it here and I just don't. I think it'll range at most. We'll have to see what happens, but I don't think there's any crazy entry point until an hour from now. We'll see a new hour here, so maybe we see something, and then I'm actually gone in 5 minutes, so can't stay anymore. Because there's nothing for me to like really look at. It's all just kind of boring. And I only look at specific candle changes anyway, so there's not really much I'm doing. I'm just looking at stuff for content. Dame. Play some more of that Yakuza. I'm Kiryu, or whatever the guy's name is, Kiryu Kazama. No, Kazama Kiryu, because I think they go last name, first name. This is so fun. It's so fun. Oh man. Alright, 4 minutes left. Maybe I'll see something interesting before I leave. I don't see how anything interesting could happen though, but I just want to see good buying, good selling. God's forsaken me. Truly has. Not really, but still, you know what I mean? Just being dramatic right now. And like I always say, if it wasn't streaming, I literally don't give a crap. If this is what the market wants to do. Like, this just goes to kind of show you, maybe not, but it's how straightforward this stuff can be sometimes. Right? Like, if you see a crazy guy, you don't pick a fight with him, right? Doesn't mean you know everything that happens in the market, but at least if you can see something that makes you go, wait a second, that doesn't make any sense, you can just avoid it. Battle not fought is a battle won for me. As long as you're fighting battles in general, right? So, if you're not fighting any battle, then you got an issue. Oh wow, Land Research got. Oh baby, no wonder the Nasdaq got struck. God damn. Oh my god. I didn't think it was that bad. Oh my god. I mean, I know he's in the high downward potential categories, but Jesus, AMC's holding up better than Confluent. Gosh dang. Confluent, Datadog, man, all the big Nasdaqers. Damn. They really got hit. Wow, Billy got hit hard. What's Neo doing? Oh my god. Well, I guess this isn't too surprising from the perspective of, where the hell is it? The Hang Seng is like, I don't know what the hell it's doing. It could get caught somewhere down here. It has to. But god, the Hang Seng looks so bad. But, point being, where's Neo? Not that bad. I mean, it's bad, but it's not that bad. I mean, if you compare it to something like, I don't know if it's fair to compare it to something like, oh my god. What the hell? All I see is every once in a while. It always blows my mind when something literally starts. and arguably like the worst place possible. Wow. I can't believe the Nasdaq's still up this far. That is insane. All these things are just getting destroyed. It's gotta be because what's Apple at right now? 0.09. I don't know. What? So Apple's only down 0.16. But on the S&P it's down 0.19. On the Nasdaq it's down 0.21. I mean Apple, whatever. Yeah. And Microsoft hit hard again. Amazon, Google a little bit. Okta? I didn't know they, damn, I know they had such a big market cap. Man, that's insane. I'm surprised this stuff is not off a cliff. Like, you would think, like, of course, okay, so I get it, like, it's Apple. I mean, Apple is, it looks like it's practically almost the size of Google and part of Amazon, like Google and half of Amazon. Or maybe, like, what is this? This is actually, I don't know. Actually, this is thicker. I don't know. What's this? 2.2? 1.2? 1.1? 1.2 says 1.3. This is 1.15, right? I'm lazy, so we can say this is what, 2.425? 2.425? This is actually like 8% less than Google and Amazon combined. It's kind of crazy. And this isn't down, but god dang. Seeing Nvidia here, Microsoft there. Freaking. Qualcomm down. I don't even know what PDD is. What the heck is that? I have no idea what this is. Pinduoduo? Hualin Kai and Zhang Huang? Who are you people? And it's headquartered in China, but it's on the Nasdaq? Okay. Retail trade? Right. It's like Pinduoduo sounds, I don't know, it sounds like it would be something from China. I'm not sure a Duo. It's just a weird name. If it's a tech company with a weird name, I just assume it's from China. God, so many things are getting hit so hard. Applied materials, right? Yeah. Man. Wild. There's a big chances for a recovery if they can get this to look nice. It's actually insane. I mean, things look so horrible, though. Jeez. Man, this could be wild. Not for going down, but for going up. Man, everything looks so bad. I wonder if Apple will be able to pull the market back up. Yeah, start back on their push up. And jeez. That's wild. I'm not surprised the Nasdaq's dropping though. Oh my god. Looking at everything, that's just wow. This will be really interesting on this 4 hour. I'm gonna head out. I don't really care, but wow. I think a lot of this stuff could turn around, which I think is like something to be a little bit concerned about. It seems pretty tough to kind of see. And it's only looking at it from an Apple perspective, because everything looks pretty sketch from every every other perspective that I've kind of taken a look at. And Microsoft getting sold out is pretty concerning, all things considered, because it's Microsoft. Yeah, long story short, if we see Apple start above 140, what is it, like 140.20? Apple start at 140.20 on the next, I'll probably be back for the 1 hour. Like, what I'll probably do if we start somewhere around here, I'll probably be back. To me, I'm just looking to see if we start here. I'll be back for sure, 100%. If we start like here, if we start above 140.20. So like the one thing I'm thinking is a possibility is, God, the Nasdaq looks so horrible. The only thing I see possibly saving it is Apple at this point. And that would Apple being oversold and being able to regain this range that we started in. And because everything else is so oversold, that's the only way I see it happening. Everything on the Nasdaq, so many things on the Nasdaq look so bad. Like Apple's kind of bad, but where it started isn't that bad. So it's actually insane. Actually insane to see everything this bad with Apple still relatively here. Like, this is what surprises me the most, that Apple is still in this relative area. Nvidia dropping, that's whatever. This doesn't bother me. This isn't that bad. This isn't bad. This is normal. This isn't that bad. This is actually pretty crazy. Value stock Tesla, I guess, right? Not really, but maybe it's probably because Tesla's dropped so much already. This is horrible. AMD's holding up pretty well considering Nvidia's down so far, but what's with this Qualcomm down almost 6, PDD, whatever? I guess that makes sense. They're a Chinese company. The Texas Instruments? Huh, interesting. I guess people aren't going to school as much. AVGO, Intel seems pretty reasonable. Then we get like some even the smaller ones like Micron. Man, talk about chip sector. Micron, Nvidia, or like semiconductors. Nvidia, Micron, AMD somehow seems to be holding up pretty well. It probably went past another one. Intel. Yeah. It's just pretty wild. But Netflix is up. Hey, you gotta watch your Netflix. PayPal down 6.3%. Asian, AstraZeneca, AZN. I remember people used to do that. AZN, AstraZeneca. Why are they even up here? What do they have to do? I guess everything's tech, right? After a certain point. Ooh, I didn't know I could do that. Oh, never mind. I thought I could oh, wait, let me do this, right? That makes a little bit, well, that doesn't help anything at all. Layton Research is down. I was surprised about that. Apparently, Moderna's doing great. They got all the goods. But it's just wild to see. It's like a lot of red. A lot of red here on these smaller ones. But like a lot. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's like they don't make up a lot of NASDAQ, but Jesus. I mean, some of these, like 6% on this big boy, 6% on this big boy. That's wild. I mean, they're almost down 6% with a market cap of 127. So that's like up, what, 5% or something? I mean, that's at least 6. So they're down 6 billion market cap. These guys are down a decent amount too. Jeez. Maybe like 7, 8 billion. I mean, Microsoft's got to be down 13.5 on 1.7. That's at least like, what, 30 billion? Drug maker, I think Moderna and AstraZeneca are drug makers. Everything's tech now. I mean, technically everything's tech, right? They do make drugs, but like everything's tech, right? Like everything is still like a technology, more or less. Like it's not the same, but everything is a science after a certain point. Everything's a technology. Like right from manufacturing and producing things. Now whether it's like software, I think that's like, obviously that's, well, technically there is still everything everything's practically tech and software nowadays, but it's not like specifically tech and software, right? It's just I guess it's what's the means to an end. So it's just tech and software, I suppose, to create drugs. It's not supposed to be software I guess software as a service or something like that, maybe, or packaged services. Isn't that what they call some of these, I think? Yeah. Well, venture capital is probably messing with the stuff you were talking about, and those smaller ones, or maybe they're not that small. It was like Biogen and something else you were talking about. I don't remember what it was called. And Ginkgo. I don't remember how big those are though. Ginkgo. I need Ginkgo from a brain. I'll probably be back at 1:30 though, but most likely, at least for a little bit. I'll probably just go play. I'll probably actually just make food or something. Yeah, I'll probably make food and play a game or something, and I'll be back at 1:30. If we start above, we start under. If we start above 140, Apple at 140.20, I'll probably stay for like an hour or something. If we don't, I'll probably be back on for like 15 seconds because I don't really care. And then I'll be back for tomorrow. We'll see where we start tomorrow. Because I'm much more concerned. Like, we'll have a decent chance to push down if we can break through here. If we do start in this area tomorrow, it'll be quite a bit different if we do start somewhere here. Though this does give it a decent chance to try to push back up and break back in, which is kind of the issue. So I do think it's worse to start here than here. But we'll just have to see. So, alright. I'll see you guys later.